launched by the University Grants Commission, Ministry of Education, New Delhi, and jointly organized by the Sant Galge Babam Rao University through its Malvi Mission Teacher Training Center and Professor Ram Meghe Institute of Technology and Research and Autonomous Institutions situated in the Badnera, Amravati. Friends, I extend my warm welcome to all. Since last week, we are discussing with the different modalities of this national education policy and its implementing strategies with the help of renowned experts that have been invited from across the country. And today we are going with today we are discussing with a very important and the crucial thing, that is the Indian knowledge system. You know that the government has paid, this national education policy has paid the more emphasis on this Indian knowledge system, and this is the integral part of our curricula. And UGC has decided this thing as a very important thing during this flagship program. So today we have with us a very great senior and eminent personality, Professor Faiza Abbasi ma'am. Ma'am, warm welcome you on behalf of the Malvi Mission Teacher Training Center, Sant Galge Babam Rao University, to this flagship program. Friends, Professor Abbasi ma'am is at present serving as a director at UGC MMTTC, Almost HRDC in the Academic Staff College at the Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh, situated in the Uttar Pradesh. She has been working with this university past 12 years, and also served as a program director at the US Department of State Assess program for the AMU school for the national teacher for the national teachers and teaching mission of the Ministry of the Education, Government of India. She has executed the 5-year CLAM, Center for Academic Leadership and the Education Management, for over 15 Indian minorities managed higher education institute of the India, most of which she personally visited. Earlier, she did the master and the PhD from the Department of Wildlife Sciences in the AMU, and engaged the multidisciplinary UG as well as the PG teaching and research in the environmental studies and faith-based conservation, especially to students of the Madrasa background, as honorary teacher at the K.A. Nizami Center for Quran Studies at AN. Dr. Abbasi has completed prestigious leadership for the academician program of the Ministry of Education at the Ohio State University, United States of the America, Monash University, Melbourne, Australia, and the Nurturing the Future Leadership program from the Indian Institute of Management at the Udaipur. She has also obtained the Skill Enhancement Certificate and the diploma courses from the Writers Bureau, Center for Quran Studies at AMU, and the awards EDX. She has been confirmed with the awards, including the Governance Medal Award for the Societal Services by the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Best Paper Award by the Indian Forest, and the Nishan E-Urdu Award by the UP government. She is an expert speaker at Continuous Professional Development Program of the Higher Education Institute across the country in online residential in the MOOCs platform. She has edited 15 books in the English as well as the Urdu, and regularly published scholarly and the creative pieces in the reputed national as well as the international periodicals. She is also an editorial board, and she is also on the editorial board and a reviewer for the peer-reviewed journal of the UGC Care listed journals. And she is on the advisory board of the Center for Women's Studies at AMU, Internal Complaint Committee, and Income Tax Department at Aligarh. So friends, this is the brief introduction with regards to Professor Abbasi ma'am. As far as concerned, she is also the director of this MMTTC Center, and under his able guidance, she is also running such kind of flagship program for the teachers of across the country. So today we have with us a very really great and eminent personality. She have such kind of huge training background, and she has imparted the training almost more than 1,000 or 2,000 teachers across the India. So we are really luckily fortunate, ma'am. Today we have with us to enlighten on such a huge topic, that is the IKS and the environment conservation. So, ma'am, I again extend my warm welcome to you and request you to start with the session. Ma'am, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that introduction and for taking out the time to present my background here. I'm very happy. This is my first time at your university in Amravati, and I'm very glad to the director for giving out this invite to me. And I can see how many participants total here? Um,
Ma'am, through Zoom, there are 25, 23 participants.
25.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah, and through YouTube, near about, ma'am, 73 participants have joined, ma'am.
Okay, so that's wonderful. And I congratulate your team and you all on being able to come up with this wonderful group. 75 is going to be a large number. And as very rightly pointed out by you, mm, IKS is getting renewed attention, um, of course, by the government, but I think it was long due. And there has been, I have been working on sacred groves of India and on conservation practices that were put in place by ancient Indian communities for a long time. And that is when, I used to wonder as to why uh, proper attention to sacred groves or such practices that have been a part of the tradition of the community, of the society, of this country, uh, are not revoked, are not revived, and are not re implemented in the society. So I must say, whoever came up with this idea actually came up with a very good idea. It's great that we have now started paying attention to the Indian knowledge system. Now, I'm no expert in the Indian knowledge system, but I take interest in culture, I take interest in religion, and I happen to be a wildlife scientist, and I have deep insights into conservation, into environment protection, and into ecological balance. I have tried my best over a long period of time to ensure conservation of the endangered, threatened, and extinct species, tried to protect the environment, the forest, the wildlife, so that precious biodiversity can be saved, and so that the balance in nature, life giving nature, the mother nature, as we call it, that is maintained for a long period of time, the way it has been maintained till we inherited this earth from our ancestors. But if we think that we have just inherited this earth from our ancestors and that it's okay for us to destroy the earth and to destroy the ecological balance of the earth, then probably we are wrong. We are absolutely wrong. And then, we have to remind ourselves that we have not inherited the planet from our ancestors. We have borrowed it from our successors. जो हमारी आने वाली जनरेशन है वो इस धरती को हमारे बाद ले इस काबिल इसको हमें छोड़ के. Is it okay if I speak a little bit of Hindi, friends? Little bit of Hindi, not much.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it is convenient, ma'am.
Okay. So we have to keep that in mind that we do not have rights for devastating the planet Earth and leaving nothing for our coming generations. So I'm going to make a presentation here. Just tell me if I can share my. Let me share my screen.
हे बोलून झाले ना हे बोलून झाले
Visible? Screen visible? Participants, can somebody confirm? Is the
Yes,
screen
ma'am.
visible?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, thank you. And I want to put it in the slideshow mode. Okay, so we're going to talk about today how environmental conservation and ecological ethics go hand in hand with the Indian knowledge system. Now, as I have already stated that I'm no expert in the Indian knowledge system, but I do know, and everybody who lives in India and everybody who was born in India knows that the societies, the peoples, the cultures, we have a historical perspective and some philosophical foundations. 3,000-year-old roots in a country, in a land, I must say, which is so geographically diverse and which is so biologically diverse. Actually, I think I will change my position. So much of noise here. Just a minute. So, our historical perspective and philosophical foundations, they find roots in the ancient text and scriptures. The ancient texts and scriptures, they happen to be the Vedas, the Upanishads, and the Puranas. Plus, there are ecological ethics in Indian philosophy. And these are the ecological ethics of sustainability, of living in harmony with nature, of principles of ecological balance. And not just the ancient scriptures, but we are a people of the folk culture. I hope we all enjoy the folk culture very much. We have all grown up to love the folk culture we were born with. All of us have heard the elders in the family or uh, in the neighborhood speak a language that is peculiar to them. This is a language of proverbs. This is a language of idioms. This is a language of similes and metaphors. And a lot of it is coming from nature. The inspiration for a lot of it is actually coming from nature. If we have to give examples, if we have to give similes and metaphors for finding expressions and intertwining them in our speech, what happens is that we resort to nature. We have always looked up to nature. So before I begin, we go ahead with the delving deeper into Indian knowledge system. I'm again drawing a caveat here. सब कुछ जो IKS में मौजूद है शायद मैं उसका यहाँ जिक्र ना कर पाऊँ, लेकिन जो मोटे मोटे 7-8 पॉइंट्स मुझे बहुत अहम लगते हैं उनको मैंने यहाँ आपके लिए समेटा है। और मुझे लगता है कि जो majority of the environmental issues that we are facing, not just here in our country, but as a global community. See, sustainable development goals are sustainable development goals to be achieved by humanity until 2030. And these 17 goals, they have been set for all of us. So they have kind of replaced the millennium goals. And there was a time when the whole world was feeling very enlightened, very elated, talking about the UDHR, the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. It looks like that the SDGs, the 17 SDGs, have become the new agenda for mankind, the new agenda for the survival of our community. So I would say that जो हमारी मेजर प्रॉब्लम्स हैं वातावरण के, पर्यावरण के, हम उनको सुधार सकते हैं यदि भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा से ये जो 7-8 चंद मोटे मोटे मैं आपके सामने पॉइंट्स भी दूंगी, तो यदि उनकी बात हो सके तो. Now before that, I want to give you an exercise. और अगर आप में से कुछ लोग अपना वीडियो ऑन करके दिखा सकें कि आपने क्या किया है, तो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगेगा. What I'm asking you to do, चलिए मैं भी अपना वीडियो ऑन कर लेती हूँ. So dear participants, आपसे मेरी गुजारिश है कि आपने जो अपनी पहली ड्राइंग बनाई थी, the first sketch that you made as a child, या मैं ये कहूँ कि यदि आप अपने घर के किसी 4 साल के बच्चे को, 5 साल के बच्चे को एक पेपर और एक पेन दे दें और उससे कहें कि लो बेटा इससे कुछ बनाओ, अपना समय मत बर्बाद करो, टीवी मत देखो, फोन मत देखो, छोड़ दो, और ये लो कुछ इसको हम मुझे बना के दिखाओ. आप बताइए आप वो क्या बनाएगा. और आप बताइए कि जब आपके हाथों में पहली बार इस तरह से कागज कलम आया था, आपने क्या बनाया. I am giving you 2 minutes. If you have a paper and a pen, please do that. अगर आपके हाथों में पेपर पेन है तो आप प्लीज ले लीजिए और हमें जरा बना के दिखाइए पहली ड्राइंग किसी बच्चे की क्या होती है. ये एक पीस ऑफ पेपर है जो मैंने आपको दिया है और मैं आपसे कह रही हूँ कि आप इसमें कोई भी अपनी ड्राइंग बना के दिखाइए. आप क्या बनाएंगे. कोई बताएगा. अच्छा तुम ये ले. बनाया किसी ने. Has anybody made? किसी ने बनाया हो तो प्लीज दिखाएं. आई थिंक हर कोई जो अपनी पहली ड्राइंग होती है वो अच्छा मैं इसमें कर नहीं पा रही हूँ. चलिए, तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि हर किसी को अगर इस तरह से एक दे दिया जाए पेपर पेन और कुछ कलर्स, तो हर कोई यही ड्राइंग बनाएगा कि जिसमें कि एक सीनरी होगी, उसमें कुछ पहाड़ होंगे, सामने एक नदी बह रही होगी और एक छोटा सा घर होगा जिस पे कि एक चिमनी निकल रही होगी और इस घर में कोई रह रहा होगा और इसके सामने एक रास्ता होगा। इस रास्ते के अगल बगल कुछ फूल, कुछ पत्तियां लगी होंगी, आसमान में कुछ चिड़िया उड़ रही होंगी और ये ही आपकी फर्स्ट ड्राइंग रही होगी। The inspiration for this aesthetics, for this sense of peace, for this sense of belonging to your piece of land, it comes from nature. Nature के इंस्पिरेशन से you make your life beautiful. Nature के इंस्पिरेशन से you create a sense of beauty. तो इस तरह अंडरस्टैंडिंग नेचर, बाय अंडरस्टैंडिंग नेचर and by acknowledging and recognizing the life-giving quality in nature, the the entity of nature which happens to be a life-giving entity, इसे समझते हुए हमारी जो भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा है उसमें कुछ सूत्र थे और ये पहला सूत्र जो आपके सामने है वो है अहिंसा, that is non-violence. Now ahimsa is a core principle in the Indian knowledge system and this system emphasizes एक तो non-violence और दूसरा compassion. तो जब when you talk about non-violence, then it's not just non-violence against your fellow men, your fellow human beings, or your fellow people. It's about non-violence being condemned, even if it is against non-human species. Non-human species, which means plants and animals, flora and fauna. तो जैसे हमें हमारे अंदर मानवता, हमारे अंदर दया का भाव और हमारे अंदर अहिंसा का भाव अपने लोगों के लिए होता है, दूसरे मनुष्यों के लिए होता है, वैसे ही हमारा जो दया का भाव है वो होना चाहिए जीव दया, यानी कि पशु पक्षी, पेड़ पौधे, ये सब दया के पात्र हैं. So when we are practicing non-violence and when we are practicing compassion and mercy and generosity towards all and for all, I think the presentation has stopped, huh? Okay, is it visible? And I hope I'm audible now.
Yes, very well.
Okay, thank you. So we are talking about ahimsa, and this sutra for ahimsa, it comes from ahimsa parmo dharma. That is, ahimsa sabse bada dharma hai. Non-violence is the supreme dharma. Non-violence is the supreme dharma. It's the biggest religion. Now, what we are discussing is that this concept of non-violence is towards peace, and this concept applies not only to fellow humans but to all plants and animals. And not only this, it advocates for the ethical treatment of animals, recognizing their intrinsic value and rights to live a life free from harm. A life free from harm. So this philosophy aligns with all modern animal rights movements, promoting coexistence and respect for all forms of life. आपको पता है हमारे देश में भी बहुत से जीव दया के आंदोलन चलाए जा रहे हैं, बहुत दिनों से चल रहे हैं जीव दया के आंदोलन। और ये जो दर्शन है अहिंसा का, यही दर्शन इन मॉडर्न एनिमल राइट्स मूवमेंट्स का भी, इनका भी फलसफा यही है, इनका भी यही दर्शन है. दिस इज द फिलोसफी. सो लुक एट, कैन समबडी नेम एनी एनिमल राइट्स मूवमेंट? आप किसी एनिमल राइट्स मूवमेंट का नाम ले सकते हैं? Okay. People for Ethical Treatment of Animals. I hope you have heard about it. They are called PETA. And it's a movement that is worldwide, and they take great pains for promoting the rights of animals. They take great pains for combating whatever violent practices and unethical treatment of animals are there in the dairy industry, in the poultry industry, in the food industry, in the transport industry, and even, joy rides on camels and joy rides on horses, and in the equestrian fields. So wherever there is unethical treatment of animals, कहीं जानवरों पे जुल्म हो रहा है, कहीं उनके साथ हिंसा हो रही है, तो हिंसक गतिविधियों के प्रतिरोध के लिए पीटा बहुत काम कर रही है. और पीटा का जो बुनियादी फलसफा है वो है अहिंसा, जो कि आपको भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा के इस सूत्र में मिलता है, अहिंसा परमो धर्म. तो जब हम दूसरी स्पीशीज, अदर नॉन ह्यूमन स्पीशीज विच इंक्लूड्स एंटायर फ्लोरा एंड फौना, when we are non-violent against them, we don't kill them. आज अगर देखा जाए बायोडाइवर्सिटी लॉस जो हो रहा है, जो more and more species of plants and animals are joining the red data list, the threatened species are becoming endangered, the endangered are becoming critically endangered, the critically endangered are becoming extinct, near to extinction, and many species have become extinct. अभी देखिए हालात ये हैं कि हमने तो अभी बहुत सी स्पीशीज का पता भी नहीं लगाया. The scientists have not even discovered and described all the species, but before that these species are coming to an extinction. तो ये बहुत दुख की बात है. इससे पहले कि हम जाने कि प्रकृति में हमें क्या क्या मिला हुआ था, प्रकृति के हमें क्या क्या वो थे, संसाधन थे जो मिले हुए थे, एक तरह से तोहफे के तौर पे एक उपहार था, उसको हमने खोला ही नहीं और उसको खत्म कर दिया. ये बिल्कुल ऐसे ही है कि जैसे एक बच्चे का बर्थडे है, उसको बहुत सारे गिफ्ट्स मिलते हैं अपने बर्थडे पे, तो तो आधे तो वो खोल के खेल खाल के खत्म कर देता, आधे तो वो बिना खोले ही तहस नहस कर देता है. We are behaving like that pampered child. We are behaving like that extremely ungrateful, greedy, arrogant child. जिसको सब कुछ मिला भगवान की दया से, मगर उसने अपने हिंसक गतिविधियों के कारण सब कुछ समाप्त कर दिया. ठीक है. So, if this philosophy of non-violence is applied on is applied by people who follow Indian knowledge system, I can say with confidence that a lot of the species extinction issues will be solved, because of course species extinction is not happening only because of poaching and only because of um, the meat industry or the poultry industry. It's also happening because of habitat destruction, and a lot of habitat destruction is also taking place. But I must say that partially this problem will be addressed if this philosophy of non-violence coming from the Vedic principle of ahimsa paramo dharma, it is upheld. Let us move on to the next. Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. The earth, the world is one family, which means recently you would have seen in the G20 India's presidency, the theme was one earth, one family. And, you know, so when we say Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, we mean to say that we are considering the entire earth as one family, all people of the different countries of the world as one family. And you know what happens in a family? In a family, several people live together. In a family, several people care for each other. And several people are responsible for each other. So something goes wrong to one, the other rises to the occasion and the other can't take it. So Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam promotes global unity and emphasizes that all humans, animals, and nature are interconnected. Interconnected, and they deserve mutual respect. Interconnected and deserving mutual respect from each other. Respect from each other. This is something, I should say, this is something very, very profound. The idea of looking at everything in on earth, of looking at everything, all people, all sections, all plants, all animals, and even the entities of nature. Now, see, in Ahimsa Paramo Dharma, you had seen that just like mankind deserves our ethical treatment, similarly, animals also deserve our ethical treatment. Here, what we are seeing is that because every element on the planet Earth is interconnected, hence, the biological entities as well as the non-biological entities. That means the biotic factors and the abiotic factors. They are all interconnected. They are all part of one family. And hence, it is our responsibility to care for them, to be responsible for them, and to be mindful of them. Because when we are interconnected, तब हमें एक दूसरे के सुख दुख से फर्क पड़ता है. इंटरकनेक्टेडनेस को हम यूं समझ सकते हैं कि आपको एक शेर सुनाती हूँ. मुब्तलाए दर्द हो कोई भी उज़ू रोती है आंख. So, whether your hand is paining, whether your fingers are paining, whether your head is paining, whether your leg is paining, if there is pain anywhere in the body, your eyes will cry. Your eyes will cry. So in that, just like all the organs of the body are interconnected in an individual, in the same vein, all the biotic as well as the abiotic entities in nature are interconnected. So they have to be affected by each other's pain. They have to be affected by each other's loss. They have to be affected by each other's grief. And hence, they have to act in a responsible manner, not causing pain, grief, and loss to the other. And this is the second step of ahimsa. In ahimsa, we take the first step. And the first step is Asim. And the first step is considering all flora and fauna capable, I mean to say deserving of non-violence and peace. But here we are extending that to another step, being what? Another step being interconnectedness of the biotic as well as the abiotic factors. And that is why today environment has become a multi-dimensional problem. Who do you think can solve an environmental problem? आपको क्या लगता है environmental problems को कौन solve कर सकता है? क्या सिर्फ साइंटिस्ट्स environmental problems को solve कर सकते हैं या क्या सिर्फ engineers environmental problems को solve कर सकते हैं? हाँ? No, I think environmental problems can be solved only when everyone feels responsible. And that is why today environment has become everyone's topic in education, in industry, in politics, everywhere. It is required of us to talk about the environment, to be careful about the environment, to be mindful about the devastation we are causing to the environment. ऐसा नहीं है कि श्रीलंका के किसी गांव के जो फिशिंग कम्युनिटी है, अगर उनको कुछ दुख पहुंचता है, वहाँ तूफान आते, वहाँ सुनामी आती है और वहाँ पे लोगों के रोजगार छीनते हैं, उनके घर छीनते हैं, या यूं कि बहुत से आइलैंड्स हैं, बहुत से कोस्टल एंड मरीन एरियाज हैं, वो सब पानी के नीचे आ जाते हैं. तो ये सिर्फ उनकी प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. वसुधैव कुटुंबकम की नजर से देखा जाए तो ये हम सब का मसला है और इसे सुधारने के लिए, इसके लिए कुछ करने के लिए हम सबको आगे आना होगा. अगर श्रीलंका के फिशिंग विलेजेस कि एक पूरी विलेज कम्युनिटी का रोजगार, उनके रहने की जगह, उनके घर सब पानी के नीचे आ गए हैं, तो इसकी वजह ग्लोबल वार्मिंग है, इसकी वजह क्लाइमेट चेंज है। और ग्लोबल वार्मिंग और क्लाइमेट चेंज सिर्फ उस गांव में रहने वाले गरीब लोगों ने नहीं किया है, उन्हें तो इसका दे हैव टू बेयर द ब्रंट। दे आर नॉट द वंस who have brought it upon themselves. It's just that they are at the forefront of receiving um, the wrath of nature like this. And, tomorrow it would be us. Tomorrow it would be people in any other country. Tomorrow it would be anybody else. So when you're governed by things like Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, you are actually recognizing that environment is a multidimensional problem, and that interconnectedness in nature has to be recognized and has to be respected. And without that, we will not be able to protect the environment. And it is very beautifully represented in this sutra of the Indian knowledge system, which is called Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, which means the world is one family. So this philosophy, it fosters a sense of universal brotherhood and harmony, advocating for collective well-being and coexistence. If I am good only if everybody is good. I am safe only if everyone is safe. और अभी देखिए कोविड-19 पेंडेमिक में हम सब ने देखा कि हमारी सेफ्टी सिर्फ हम पे नहीं थी, हमारी सेफ्टी सबकी सेफ्टी पे थी। Right. Then there is nature worship and pantheism. आपके सामने ये जितनी भी तस्वीरें हैं, आप इसमें देख सकते हैं पीपल के दरख्त की इबादत, तुलसी की इबादत, भगवान के अवतार में किसी जानवर का रूप देखना आपके सामने। आप देख रहे हैं कि एक हाथी से एक आशीर्वाद ले रही हैं, एक उनकी उपासक हनुमान जी। We all know. Now the thing is, um, nature worship and pantheism has been a part of our culture ever since. And why I am talking about this here, of course, with due respect to all the other religions where nature worship and pantheism is not there, what I don't mean to say is that this is the only way of worshipping, or this should be the only way of worshipping. What I want to project here is just that, when people of this part of the world worship, or let me put it like this, they include the worship of an animal in their scheme of things, then certainly they will not kill that animal. है ना? मानते हैं ना आप इस बात को? जो लोग हाथी की पूजा करते हैं वो हाथी को बचाते हैं, वेरी सिंपल। जो लोग पीपल के पेड़ की पूजा करते हैं वो पीपल के पेड़ को नहीं काटते हैं। या जो लोग तुलसी की पूजा करते हैं वो तुलसी अपने घर में लगाते हैं और उससे उनको बहुत फायदा मिलता है। तो ये जो चीजें हैं, ये किसी को ये नहीं कहने की बात है कि यही सही है और यही गलत है, लेकिन भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा पे चूंकि हम बात कर रहे हैं, तो उसमें एक ये प्रकृति की उपासना, प्रकृति की पूजा, इससे जरूर कहीं ना कहीं ये निकल के आता है कि मुझे नहीं लगता भारत में कभी तुलसी का एक्सटिंक्शन होगा, क्योंकि तुलसी भारत में घर घर में लोग लाके लगाते हैं और इसमें उनकी आस्था है। अब जरूरी नहीं है मैं ये नहीं कह रही हूँ गलत सही और आस्था के बगैर भी हमें अपने पर्यावरण की रक्षा करनी है, साइंटिफिकली भी करनी है, मगर लोगों से वाइल्ड लाइफ एनिमल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट को रिजॉल्व करवाना इस तरह बहुत आसान हो जाता है. इट बिकम्स वेरी इजी टू रिजॉल्व द वाइल्ड लाइफ एनिमल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट when people are worshipping nature. So there are various elements in nature. Most of the rivers in our country are worshipped. And it's easier to find cooperation of people and the local community when these entities of nature are worshipped. Okay. Let's move on to the next. Sorry. Now I would like to talk to you about sacred groves. देखिए, मैंने अभी बात की वाइल्ड लाइफ एनिमल कॉन्फ्लिक्ट की. कोई है जो इसके बारे में कुछ जानता है? somebody is here who knows a little about wildlife animal conflict? Any participant here? Or you have heard about sacred groves? महाराष्ट्र में तो बहुत से sacred groves हैं भी. Many sacred groves in Maharashtra. कोई बताएगा? नहीं. अच्छा, देखिए ऐसा है, in the Indian knowledge tradition, that is in the Hindu tradition, there are 3 types of forests: the Tapovan, Mahavan, and Srivan. So Tapovan are forests associated with tapas, that is penance, and are inhabited by saints and rishis. And Mahavan refers to the grand natural forests. So Tapovan and Mahavan are considered to be a raksha, that is a sanctuary for the flora and fauna, as ordinary human beings are not allowed to enter these forests. Shrivan means forests of the goddess of prosperity. This again consists of dense forests and groves. तो हमें आज फायदा ये है कि be it the Tapovan, be it the Mahavan, or be it the Srivan, there are forests, and if you look at the map, this map here, there are hundreds of sacred groves in India, in every state. Now, what's happening in the sacred groves is that the people have now associated it with the name of a deity. किसी देवी देवता भगवान के साथ में इन जंगलों का रिश्ता जोड़ दिया गया है और इन्हें उनकी ही प्रॉपर्टी मान लिया गया है. Now it is believed that these forests belong to that deity. They don't belong to the people. So now the people can't take a single blade of grass from these forests. मतलब कि अब इसमें हम जा नहीं सकते, हम इसमें से बिल्कुल भी वो नहीं उठा सकते, एक घास का टुकड़ा भी नहीं उठा सकते हैं, और हमें इससे लकड़ी भी नहीं लेनी है. हमें इसके जंगल जो है वो जो है उनको हमको कभी काटना भी नहीं है, और हमेशा इन जंगलों को ऐसे ही रखना है. मैं सीक्रेट ग्रुप्स पे बहुत लंबी बात कर सकती हूँ, मेरा अच्छा खासा एक पेपर है सीक्रेट ग्रुप्स पे, लेकिन जाहिर है आज तो इतनी लंबी बात का समय नहीं है. आज हमें तमाम और भी इनके बारे में बात करनी है जो भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा के सूत्र हैं। लेकिन फिर भी हम सीक्रेट ग्रुप्स के बारे में थोड़े अच्छे से बात करेंगे। मथुरा है, वृंदावन है, इन जगहों पे ऐसे जंगल, ऐसे छोटे छोटे इलाके हैं जिनमें कि पेड़ पौधे लगे हुए हैं, जहाँ पे लोगों की आस्था है। यानी इसमें कोई सही गलत की बात नहीं। People who live there, they believe that now this is the deity to which this forest is attached, this forest is associated. और अब हम इसमें नहीं जाएंगे। कहीं कहीं तो ये भी माना जाता है मथुरा के जो फॉरेस्ट है कि ऐसे कृष्ण जी इसमें आते हैं और गोपियां इसमें रात में आती हैं। तो उसमें रात में तो कोई नहीं जाता है, लेकिन दिन में भी nobody disturbs those forests, right? So the entire idea behind sacred groves is that we have associated them with a deity, and now we will not harm them. We will not cut the trees, we will not cut the branches, we will not make roads that go through these groves, we will not make we will not build bridges, we will not build any power production plants or something. We will just let them be. इन्हें जैसे हैं इन्हें हम वैसे ही रहने देंगे, sacred groves। ठीक है, तो ये बड़ी अहम बात है। अब देखिए, मैं आपको एक एग्जांपल देती हूँ। मदुरई आपको पता है बहुत अच्छी जगह है, बड़ी खूबसूरत जगह है, और वहाँ का बहुत मशहूर टेम्पल है मीनाक्षी अम्मा टेम्पल। मगर इसके अलावा भी मदुरई में मतलब बड़े बड़े टेम्पल्स हैं और बड़े अच्छे अच्छे टेम्पल्स हैं। मेरा जाना हुआ इत्तेफाक से एक टेम्पल में मदुरई में, जो अलगर कोयल, एक अलगर कोयल हिल्स है, वहां पे है। और बहुत ही प्रिस्टीन फॉरेस्ट, इतना अच्छा जंगल जो कि मैंने अलगर कोयल हिल्स पे देखा है, वो जंगल मैंने कहीं नहीं देखा। तो जब हम उस जंगल में घुसे, हमें हमारे साथ जो थे वो हमें वहां का टेम्पल दिखाने के लिए ले जा रहे थे। तो अलगर कोयल टेम्पल दिखाने के लिए ले जा रहे थे वो हमें। तो जब हम इस जंगल के अंदर घुसे तो बहुत ही अच्छा फॉरेस्ट था। मुझे एक बहुत ताज्जुब वाली चीज वहां पे ये लगी कि वहां हर थोड़ी दूर पे देयर वर स्नेक्स, सांप थे वहां पे। एवरी नाउ एंड देन आई कुड सी अ स्नेक देयर, सो आई वाज वेरी सरप्राइज्ड। खैर मैंने ज्यादा बोला नहीं, मैंने कहा ठीक है, सांप है यहाँ पे। जब हम मंदिर में पहुंचे तो उन्होंने हमें बताया कि यहाँ पे इस मंदिर में देखिए ये जो पताका है, ये पूरी सोने की पताका है इस मंदिर की। और इसमें बहुत ज्यादा सोना चढ़ाया जाता है। जो यहाँ के डिवोटीज हैं इस मंदिर के, वो बहुत ज्यादा सोना चढ़ाते हैं। और यहाँ के बड़े खास खास कुछ ट्रेडिशंस हैं, जैसे कि सुबह में इस मंदिर में 4 हाथी हैं। रोज सुबह में वन ऑफ दीज एलिफेंट्स is taken to the stream on the hills, और वहां से हाथी अपनी सूंड में जो पानी भर के लाते हैं उसको ही पहली दफा जो ये भगवान की मूर्ति है उस पर डाला जाता है। और उसको डालने के बाद फिर भगवान को नहलाया जाता है और फिर उनके ऊपर जो चढ़ावा है वो लिया जाता है। अब देखिए ऐसा है, उनका मानना ये है कि यहाँ पे इन दिस टेम्पल जितना सोना है वो सारा सोना हमेशा के लिए सुरक्षित है, सुरक्षित रहेगा, क्योंकि उस सोने की रक्षा सांप करते हैं। उन्होंने मुझे बताया कि पूरे मंदिर के आसपास नीचे एक तहखाना है, उसमें बहुत सारा सोना है और वो उसके ऊपर सब सांप लिपटे रहते हैं, ताले के ऊपर उसके और सांकल के ऊपर उसके, और अंदर सारा सोना रखा होता है। This clicked that bell in my mind that no wonder when I was coming here I saw so many snakes. And the thing is that the snakes are inhabiting that place in big numbers because they are not being disturbed there, because everybody thinks that these are the snakes which are protecting the deity and the protecting the gold that is offered to the deity. So nobody is harming the snakes, and the snakes are having a good time because there is no harm to them. So one cause becomes the effect, and then the effect becomes the cause, and it's going on. It's wonderful, right? So, uh, so that's how this concept of sacred groves, which is still very valid in our country and which is still being practiced by lots of people, that's how this concept helps in environment protection. And there are not just sacred groves, there are sacred hills, there are sacred ponds and forests, which are, of course, groves only. And I remember once I went to a place near Cherrapunji across Shillong in Meghalaya, and we went through a cave. We had to enter from this cave and then come out from that cave, and that cave was also a sacred cave. So it was just very pristine forest and good biodiversity and really good you know green cover, ground cover, all because when the government makes a protected area, a national park or a sanctuary, and these days we have conservation reserves and community reserves. So when the government makes a protected area, people fall into conflict for land rights and for resource use. The local people, क्या होता है, लोग कहते हैं कि ये जंगल तो हमारा था, सरकार ने आके इस पे क्यों ताला लगा दिया, इसमें तो हम अपने मवेशी चराने ले जाते थे, यहाँ से तो हम लकड़ी ले जाते थे अपना चूल्हा जलाने के लिए, यहाँ से तो हम जब चाहते थे पेड़ काट भी लेते थे अपने घर में ले जाके, यहाँ से बांस ले जाते, और प्लस बहुत सारे माइनर फॉरेस्ट प्रोड्यूसर्स होते हैं जिसको हम एमएफपी कहते हैं। कोई जंगल से people are collecting honey, people are collecting latex, people are collecting wax, lots of things that people can collect from the jungles. Now, when it is declared as a protected area, what happens is that the rights of the local people are curtailed. They are no more allowed to go inside the jungle, to go inside the forest, the grassland, or whatever that place is. And they are no more allowed to draw any benefits from the forest area. Thus arises a conflict. तो जब इस तरह से लोग alienate हो जाते हैं, the people of the forest are alienated, then they give rise to conflict. आपने टाइगर रिजर्व बनाया, फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट ने टाइगर रिजर्व बनाया, लोगों में ये खबर चली गई कि यहाँ पे बाघ को बचाने के लिए जंगल को हमसे छीन लिया गया है। लोग बाघ को मारने पे उतारू हो जाते हैं। They indulge in illegal poaching of an endangered species of animal. क्योंकि वो अलग बात है कि if one kills a tiger, it fetches lakhs of rupees. One tiger can fetch lakhs of rupees from the international market. But well, दुश्मनी भी उसके पीछे एक a feeling of animosity is also a reason behind that. ऐसे सूरत हाल में फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट का, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एनवायरनमेंट का पर्यावरण को सुरक्षित रखना बहुत मुश्किल हो जाता है जब लोगों का उसमें कोऑपरेशन नहीं मिलता। When people, instead of participating, what they do, they oppose, they create hurdles, right? But when it comes to sacred groups, government को कुछ करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. It saves us a lot of public funds also, I must tell you. बहुत सा हमारा पब्लिक का जो पैसा भी है वो इससे बचता है, बचाया जा सकता है। लोग अपने आप ही अपने आस्था के लिए जंगलों को बचा के रखते हैं, नहीं काटते हैं, उनको नहीं नुकसान पहुंचाते हैं, नहीं उसमें अपने मवेशी चराते हैं। कोई भी चीज वहां से चाहिए होती है तो नहीं लेते हैं और इस तरह जंगल बचे रहते हैं, जो कि otherwise is a very difficult task for us to do because there is man-animal conflict, there is wildlife conflict, and this becomes a serious challenge to the protected area mission. तो ये जो हिंदू ट्रेडिशन के 3 तरह के जंगल हैं, वन है द तपोवन, द महावन एंड द श्रीवन. They enable very effective conservation of wild flora and fauna, which otherwise becomes very expensive. You know, it comes down heavily upon the state exchequer and it is difficult. Right, next. Next is afforestation. देखिए, मुझे बहुत नहीं याद है और बहुत ज्यादा मैं एक साथ यहाँ आपके इसलिए ला भी नहीं सकती हूँ, लेकिन वृक्षारोपण यानी पेड़ लगाना, जंगल लगाना, इस पर हमें 10 से भी ज्यादा संस्कृत के श्लोक वेद पुराण उपनिषद में मिलते हैं। उदाहरण के रूप में मैंने एक श्लोक यहाँ पे आपके लिए लिखा है, सिर्फ एक, और ये मत्स्य पुराण का है और 154, 112, ये जो भी आप इसको ढूंढ सकते हैं। इसके अलावा बहुत सी और it's found in several other Vedic books also. Now, what does this shloka say? If you can read Hindi, I'm sure you are all reading Marathi, so you could be reading Hindi. दशकूप समावापि दशवापि समोहृदः दश हृद समः पुत्रो दश पुत्र समो द्रुमः. A pond equals 10 wells. A reservoir equals 10 pounds. पहले लाइन में क्या कहा है देखिए कि एक तालाब 10 कुएं के बराबर होता है, और एक वो जो बावड़ी होती है ना, स्टेप वेल, उसके लिए कहा है कि एक बावड़ी यानी स्टेप वेल 10 तालाब के बराबर होता है। एक बेटा 10 बावड़ियों के बराबर है, और एक पेड़, एक वृक्ष, एक दरख्त, 1 tree equals 10 suns. This is just phenomenal. This is, I must tell you, this is absolutely phenomenal. 1 tree equals 10 suns. 10 बेटों के बराबर एक पेड़। क्या बात है। हम ज्यादातर इसे नहीं जानते। मैंने बहुत लोगों को इसके बारे में बात करते नहीं सुना है, क्योंकि हम तो पेड़ पौधों को बिल्कुल भुला ही चुके हैं। सो दशहृद समः पुत्रो दश पुत्र समो द्रुमः, यानी कि एक बावड़ी 10 तालाब के बराबर, 10 कुएं एक तालाब के बराबर, 10 बावड़ियां एक पेड़ के बराबर, और एक पेड़ 10 बेटों के। आप देखेंगे तो आपको इस तरह से वृक्षों की अहमियत पर बहुत से और श्लोक मिल जाएंगे, जिनसे कि हमें ये प्रेरणा मिलती है, हमें ये सीख मिलती है कि हमें पेड़ लगाने चाहिए। आज के जमाने के देखिए हालात ये कि पेड़ लगाना तो बहुत दूर की बात है, हम तो जो लगे हुए पेड़ हैं उनको भी काट रहे हैं। ठीक है, तो पेड़ लगाना चाहिए। इसकी प्रेरणा इससे बढ़ के और क्या मिल सकती है मत्स्य पुराण के श्लोक से, कि एक पेड़ 10 बेटों के बराबर है। यदि आपने एक पेड़ लगाया और आपने एक पेड़ को संभाला, उसको संवारा, उसको बढ़ने दिया, तो आपने 10 बेटों का सुख पा लिया, 10 बेटे पा लिए आपने। वंडरफुल, दिस इज जस्ट अमेजिंग, आई मस्ट से। Okay, moving on to the next. This is community conserved areas. जैसे हमने अभी सेक्रेड ग्रुप्स की बात की, वैसे ही हमारे देश में बहुत से कम्युनिटी कंजर्व्ड एरियाज हैं। ये वो एरियाज हैं जहाँ पे बायोडाइवर्सिटी को, जानवरों को, पेड़ पौधों को, पशु पक्षियों को, जीव जंतुओं को एक कल्चरल हेरिटेज मान के बचाया जाता है। आपके महाराष्ट्र में ही एक जंगल है जिसका नाम है मेंढा लेक। अब मैंने उसका एग्जाम्पल यहाँ नहीं दिया है, मुझे देना चाहिए था। मुझे आज अमरावती में एक कोर्स में बोलना है, तो जो भी लोग आप लोग वहाँ आसपास रहते हैं वो भी नहीं। So it's a forest that is conserved by the community, by the people who are living there. Of course, they are not purists and I'm sure उनका अपना कुछ रोजगार का इसका जरिया होगा, उस पर काम करते होंगे वो, लेकिन साथ ही साथ वो यहाँ जंगलों को बचा रहे हैं। Right? They are saving, they are protecting the forests. तो ऐसे एक सीसीए कहते हैं इनको। सीसीए इसकी एक डायरेक्टरी बनाई गई है ऑल ओवर द कंट्री, और बहुत सारे सीसीएस को एक जगह किया गया है। इनसे हमें ये देखने को मिलता है कि जो इंडिजिनस नॉलेज है, जो भारतीय ज्ञान है और प्रैक्टिसेस हैं, जो परंपराएं हैं, उनमें किस कदर सस्टेनेबल कंजर्वेशन के एफर्ट्स को बढ़ावा देने का हमें एग्जाम्पल मिलता है। बिकॉज सीसीएस they are managed by local communities, and in the CCAs you preserve biodiversity and cultural heritage, and this reflects the indigenous knowledge and practices, fostering sustainable conservation efforts. So CCAs empower communities, protect endangered species, and promote harmony between humans and nature. Then there are several protected areas in India that are set aside to protect flora and fauna and to preserve local traditions, cultures and practices. और इनकी पूरी एक डायरेक्टरी है। अगर आप कभी देखना चाहें कि आपके एरिया में कौन से सीसीएज हैं, कम्युनिटी कंजर्व्ड एरियाज, तो आप उनको देख सकते हैं। देखिए इसी तरह हमारे यहाँ कम्युनिटीज हैं जो कि कंजर्विंग कम्युनिटीज हैं। We don't just have community conserved areas, we also have conserving communities. तो आपके सामने एक एग्जाम्पल है बिश्नोई कम्युनिटी का। They are the first eco warriors and they are a community founded by Shri Guru Jambheshwar from 1451 to 1536। और इन्होंने अपने लोगों को 29 नियम दिए थे, जिसमें से अगर आप देखें तो 8 नियम सस्टेनेबल एनवायरमेंटल प्रैक्टिसेस, बायोडाइवर्सिटी कंजर्वेशन और एनिमल हस्बेंड्री के हैं। So this community is instructed to use firewood without burning insects. They do not cut trees. Cutting trees is banned. And they don't even wear blue clothes, as the dye is obtained by damaging a large number of shrubs. They also give special protection and special patronage to the blackbuck. The species name is Antelope cervicapra. And the women even let the fawn suckle upon them if the mother has died or is injured. So this is a community that's found around the areas in Rajasthan, and they're very particular about protecting certain species. But then let me also again say this is not the only community in our country which is giving protection to other animals and other plants. There are many other species which get conservation and which get protection from other people, just like the Bishnois. They will not let them hunt, they will not let them kill. And that way, they enable us to implement the Wildlife Protection Act more effectively. Implement the Wildlife Protection Act much more effectively. And now we are moving on to the last, and that is Sattvic regimen for diet and the Mitahara. देखिए भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा का यदि आप खान पान देखें तो वो खान पान जो है वो आज का जो कॉन्सेप्ट है that is about planetary diets. It is very much in alignment with that. Very much in alignment with the भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा का जो सात्विक खाना है और जो एक मिताहार यानी कि कम खाने का खाना सबके लिए है, प्रकृति की देन है, प्रकृति से ही हमें खाना मिलता है, मगर उसको छोटे उसको छोटे पोर्शन में खाना और ऐसा ही खाना खाना जो कि आपके अपने ऊपर तो आपकी सेहत के लिए तो अच्छा है, आपके अपने ऊपर कोई जुल्म नहीं करता है, लेकिन साथ ही साथ वो खाना धरती पर भी कोई जुल्म करके नहीं पैदा किया गया, यानी कि इट्स नॉट climate intensive food. If too much of pesticides and fertilizers are used in a particular food, then it becomes climate intensive foods. But if you're eating seasonal fruits, nuts, seeds, oils, ripe vegetables, legumes, whole grains, then this is sattvic khana because it is pure, essential, natural, vital, clean, conscious, true, honest, and wise. and it also exemplifies ahimsa. It includes seasonal fruits and nuts. And these days, of course, it includes millets. So in ancient and medieval era, we will find in the yoga literature, mitahara, like eating less. So when we're eating less, we're putting less pressure on the planet for food production. We are putting less pressure on water resources that are used for irrigation, and we are putting less pressure on the forests, which are reclaimed one after another for producing food for mankind, for being reclaimed by agriculture. तो कम खाना और सात्विक खाना पर्यावरण के लिए अच्छा है. It has been and it always is good for the environment, and on the other side, it's also good for health. And that is what planetary food is. अभी आपको planetary food पढ़ाना मेरा काम नहीं है, लेकिन मैं आपको जरूर कहूंगी कि आप जाके देखें what is planetary food. It's a growing concept these days. जैसे बहुत सी डाइट्स आती रहती है ना हर थोड़े दिन पे, पेलियो डाइट, एटकिंस डाइट, कभी वो कीटो डाइट आ जाती है. Mostly in the end, it proves to be a fad because it's new, it's quick, it's fast, and sometimes the health of some people is not able to take it. But sattvic food is something that is time tested. That is something that traditionally people in our country who have subscribed to the Indian knowledge system have been having traditionally this food. So, so the sattvic regimen and the mitahara is very much in alignment with planetary food. So food that is sattvic and food that is consumed in very small amounts is also food that doesn't put, unbearable pressure on the planet and its resources. Because mind it, I think urbanization, industrialization, etc., has not been so harmful for the environment as much as, I'm so sorry about the noise here. So it's not so harmful for the environment as much as agriculture, tube well irrigation, and pesticides and fertilizers are. So all this is being done in order to increase food production. And you're increasing food production is on the one hand for an increasing population, increasing global population, but is also on the other hand for a people who are changing their dietary choices towards more chemicals and more fertilizers and more pesticides, and also people whose diet portion size is increasing. It has increased a lot. And that is why obesity has become a world pandemic. It's a global pandemic. Everybody is diabetic today. Everybody is sick today. Everybody is, having some lifestyle disease or the other. And it has its planetary implications too. So friends, with that, I come to an end of my session with you. So you have seen how one of these 8 principles that we have just discussed, they help in protecting the environment, and they all come from the Indian knowledge system. And that's why the IKS is important for environmental conservation. I would say it's one of the ways for making environmental conservation happen. And that's how it has an ecological relevance in the modern times. It encourages sustainable living practices. And that's why we should be promoting the awareness and education on IKS. So I think I will thank you with that. And now, if there are any questions and answers, I will be happy to answer. We still have 10 minutes to go. Otherwise, we have to finish the session at 4 o'clock. We have about 5-6 minutes to go. So participants, if you have any questions, you may please ask.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for such a wonderful and insightful session towards the IKS and environment conservation. We are really thankful to you. Participants, the forum is open for discussion and the question answer. If you have any queries or the question, or if you have any kind of observation, you can note down here. Please, anyone. Ma'am, one question is received from the YouTube. Question is that we are continuously trying to conserve our environment, but rather than the government, the government is enhancing one side the industrial areas and decreasing the forest areas, and one side we are trying to conserve our forest. How it is possible?
Yes, that's a concern. Of course, it will not be possible for us to protect the environment if we continue to destroy the forest and we continue to expand industrialization. And all that is happening, of course, in the name of development and nothing else, right? But I think there are alternative efforts of including agroforestry, declaring for conservation reserves, declaring community reserves. And that way, if we can increase, we have to increase the forest. If there are mines or if there are industries that need forests to be cleared, that need deforestation, then we have to find alternatives for having the forest cover, because without the forest cover, it is impossible to protect the environment, and ultimately it will be impossible to continue to survive on planet Earth, because they're providing such ecological services, such ecosystem services, which are life-giving, which are life support services actually.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there any other question from the participants? Please, anyone. Questions? I think there is no question, no more questions
Okay, I
from the
think
audience.
yeah.
So shall we conclude, ma'am? If you could conclude.
Yes, please, let us conclude.
Okay. So on behalf of the Maldives Mission Teacher Training Center, I'm Karkeba from Bhakti University and Professor Ram Meghe Institute of Technology and Research and Autonomous Institution. I extend my sincere thanks to Professor Faiza Abbasi ma'am for being with us, enlighten us towards this thought-provoking and very necessary and urgent need of this environment conservation through this IKS that has been government has implemented through our national education policy. Yes, ma'am, we have remind our duties, whatever may be the duties of our humankind, and how we can conserve our forest, our environment and achieve the sustainable goals through this session. So we are really thankful to you, ma'am. And I once again extend my sincere gratitude towards us for because being a Sunday and a holiday, you have shared your precious time here and enlightened us on such a huge topic. So thank you,
My
ma'am. Thank you so
pleasure.
much.
My
And
pleasure.
the
Wonderful
we have
meeting. Thank
the consent of Professor Basma, this session will be over here, and we will continue for the next session within 5 minutes. Thank you very much. Participants, we will continue for the next session sharp at 4 p.m. Please give it.
नमस्कार सर.
Hello, Professor Alicia. Shall we start, sir? If you could permit.
Hello.
नमस्कार अली सर.
You are audible, sir. Shall we start, sir? If you could permit.
Hello.
Hello, Ali sir. I'm audible to you, sir.
Hello.
Sir, your voice is
Hello.
audible, sir. Your voice is audible. Whether I am audible to you, sir?
Yes, yes. Ankit.
Yes, sir. Yes. Shall we start, sir?
Yeah, yeah. Am I visible also?
Yeah, sir. Yeah, clearly, sir.
So
Clearly.
I will keep myself only till introduction, and then I will switch off my
Yes, sir. Yes.
video
Yes.
so that
Definitely.
there is no problem in
bandwidth,
streaming.
bandwidth will be clear. Sir.
Bandwidth का थोड़ा issue आता है.
Yeah.
But I am
Okay, sir.
audible.
Yeah, sir. You are clearly audible, sir.
And should I, before we start, should I?
So only 1 minute. I will take the 1 minute and then we will start.
नहीं मैं I will share my screen.
Yeah, sir. Definitely, you can share. So good afternoon, one and all. Once again, today we are continuing with this next session with a very great senior and eminent personality, Professor Mir Sadiq Ali sir. Sir, warm welcome in behalf of the Malvi Mission Teacher Training Center, Sant Garge Bappa Amravati University. And this program has been launched in the joint collaboration with the Professor Ram Meghe Institute of Technology and Research and autonomous institutions. Friends.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
So, friends, I think everyone here who has attending this program knows Professor Ali sir very well. Professor Ali sir was the former principal. Right now, he is a professor at the Professor Ram Meghe College of Engineering and Management, Engineering and Management. Sir was the former principal at the Professor Ram Meghe Institute of Technology and Research. Right now, it is the autonomous institution. Friends, sir has more than 4 decades of teaching as well as the research experience in this field of technology and engineering. And sir is a mentor and guru for each and everyone. There are under his able, sir is associated with the various autonomous bodies and as well as the HEIs. He is former academic counselor, BOS chairman at Sant Garge Bappa Amravati University. He is also the lifetime members of the various societies, including the engineering and technology societies. Under his able guidance, 26 research scholars has been completed their PhD degree, and there are more than seven patent on such record. So, friends, we should give to Professor Ali sir. Sir will today guide us on the most important topic while we are drafting our curriculum. That is Bloom's taxonomy. So, sir, I again extend my warm welcome to you and request you to start with your session. Sir, please.
Yeah. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And it's nice to be part of this session. I would be, I know with the background of PRMITR, because I was associated with it several times while we were going for NEP as well as NBA. I have been delivering something on Bloom's taxonomy. The moment Dr. Atik told me this session is particularly for PRMITR Vadnera, then I little bit modified that instead of speaking expressly on the 6 phases of Bloom's taxonomy, right from concept understanding to the application layer, I thought it prudent to speak on the effect of Bloom's taxonomy while we are devising our teaching methods. So I would be mainly speaking on how activities like case studies, simulation, and research in teaching, they impact the student's success, which is indirectly the objective of Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy is mainly for designing the curricula and teaching the curricula in such a manner that you can test the understanding level, the comprehension level, then analysis level, then design and synthesis level, and then culminating into a product or project kind of thing. So that is what Bloom's taxonomy expect. I am going to speak on teaching methodologies using case studies, simulation, and research in teaching so as to meet the requirement of Bloom's taxonomy. So my PPT is visible, sir? My PPT is visible?
Visible.
I will be stopping my video so that yes, someone can prompt me.
Yes, sir. Visible.
Yeah. Vinay Kale, sir.
Yes, sir.
I could I could see your rather recognize your voice. Thank you very much for being part of this. Let me see. Okay. So I will be speaking mainly on how activities like case studies, simulation, and research impact student success. Audible? My voice is clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Everything is clear.
Vinay sir, you can give me
Yeah,
prompt
yeah,
in
yeah.
between.
Everything is clear, sir.
Somewhere, suppose something goes wrong here and there.
Yeah.
You please prompt me so that I will correct myself. Now, some very interesting, this particular presentation is near to my heart as a teacher. And it's really so rewarding for me to interact with my people right through Malviya Mission Institute. Just have a look at this. I will be mainly talking on introduction to innovative teaching methods, exploring the impact on student success, and what is the importance of research in teaching, not PhD research. Now, before we go into that, case studies, simulation, and research in teaching, with reference to Bloom's taxonomy, let me show you something which is a motivational presentation. Let us look at these animals. Dog, deer, cat, buffalo, cow, donkey, sheep, horse, leopard, wolf, cheetah, fox, lion, zebra, tiger, yak, camel, rhinoceros, kangaroo, giraffe, bear, hippopotamus, elephant. And then all these animals together I am showing you with as many as 23 animals, starting with dog to ending with elephant, and so many. Some of them are already seen, or maybe we have seen in pictures, but then just observe this. You may be wondering how Bloom's taxonomy and case study, simulation, and research in teaching is going to help us out by looking at these pictures of animals and identifying them as whether it is a tiger or it is a lion, and how do we differentiate between that? Well, there are 23 animals I have shown you here. Now, consider the following scene. And what is that scene? Let us try to identify each one of these animals. You can prompt me what you are seeing here.
Giraffe, sir.
Yeah, very nice. Then, what do you see in this scene?
Rhinoceros.
Rhinoceros.
Giraffe.
There are so many
And
rhinoceros.
giraffe.
And there is giraffe.
And giraffe. Giraffe.
And identify that I have asked you that let us identify the animals from these scenes. So in this scene, in previous scene, it was only giraffes, but then there are 4 giraffes. We can count. There are 4 giraffes and their position is very different. They are appearing to be moving, whereas the picture I have shown you was a still picture. Okay. Likewise, rhinoceros as well as one giraffe is visible to us. Okay. Now,
Elephant. Group of
elephants,
elephant.
group of elephants. Yeah, there are so many and different sizes. There are child elephants, there are young and then old one as well. And there is a scene. And in this scene, other than elephant, we find something different which we are not asked to identify. But because
Birds.
of your earlier knowledge, you may be identifying, okay, sir, along with this scene,
Birds are there.
along with animals, birds are there. And there is one sparrow kind of bird. There are white baglas kind of, and then there are sparrows, black sparrows, which we are not interested. But then you remember
Flowers.
what pictures I have shown to you. And then from those knowledge of those pictures, along with the names of the animals, we are able to identify these animals, even though they are not exactly same as the picture was shown. Get it? Next. Now see, there are, we could recognize these as horses. So many horses, they are in different positions, colors are different, and there is one horse where there is a rider also. We are not able to, rather, we are not asked to identify the rider, but we could identify that other than horses, there is one additional odd man out. So we were asked to identify only the animals. Observe that those animals are shown to us individually without seen in the background. Now, all those, while we are asked to recognize those animals, they have been shown with so many other animals as well, with different colors, as well as with the scenes and forestry and fields, grass, birds. Now, what we did in the last 12 slides, we were shown still images of several animals, isn't it? We were shown still images of several animals. We were shown their names also. We just looked at those images only once, though by your intelligence and knowledge, you are already knowing some of those animals. But then looking at this session, in this session, I have shown you those images only once. And then we were presented with photos of animals, along with those animals moving as appearing, and there were no captions showing the names of the animals, but we could detect the animals out of the birds. Well, could you get that? We were shown still images of several animals. We were shown their names also. And we just looked at those images only once. Next, we were presented with photos of animals. The animals appear as moving. There were no captions showing the names of the animals. We could simply detect the animals out of these birds and seals. Suppose we want computer to do the same. Means if we want computer to detect the animals, that is our question. We shall show still images of several animals to computer. We shall show their names also, as we did here. And all this we will do to the computer to look at those images through cameras. Now, question is, could the computer detect the animals out of the
Big
scenes,
no, sir.
birds? Sorry, huh?
No, sir. They will not be able to.
They will not be able to?
They will not be able to detect by looking once only.
Yes. We shall show still images of several animals. We shall show their names also. we shall allow the computer to look at those images through camera so that it will capture those images. Now question is, could the computer detect the animals out of the scenes, birds, etc., as we did? You said no.
Yes. No.
My answer to this is, interestingly, yes. And how? The neural network is used to detect the objects. What we will do? We will train the neural network first, as I have trained you by showing individual animal with its name, and those 23 animals along with their names. When I have shown you, indirectly I have trained you. Okay, if you look at this picture, this is known as horse. If you look at this picture, this is known as giraffe. If you look at this picture, this is known as zebra. Likewise, 23 images I have shown along with the caption's name. During that phase, what I did, I have trained your biological neural network inside your brain to detect those animals. If we could imitate the behavior of or simulate the behavior of our brain biological neural network by means of some mathematical models known as artificial neural network, then the question which I have posed before you, okay, given the scene with birds and these animals, is it possible for a human being to recognize those animals individually? Answer is yes, what we did just now. My next question was, suppose same thing we do with the computer, is it possible for the computer to recognize those elements, animals, as a human being could recognize? The answer is interestingly yes. The neural network is used to detect the objects. The network is first trained, then it is applied to the real life situations to detect the objects from a scene. And this is called as artificial intelligence. Means human-like decision making. Get it? Now I agree. I will show further. I am coming to that point. I am coming to Bloom's taxonomy by showing you this case study by means of simulation and by carrying out certain research at my level about pedagogy methods, about teaching methods, that how can we make teaching as an effective tool for learning by using the action verbs from Bloom's taxonomy. This is artificial intelligence, human-like decision making, and this is possible by means of deep neural network. I do not want you people to understand what is the way this deep neural network are designed, in what way they work. My question here is that out of these 14 slides which I have shown you, right from beginning, where in animals were shown to you individually, then we were asked to recognize, then we asked the question that can computer do the same thing? Our answer was yes. There I am showing you how for computer it is possible to recognize these animals as a human being can recognize. Is this, that deep neural network is first trained. It is first trained so that in the training phase, the neural network learns. And what it learns, we show it horse and we indicate to it that it is horse. We show it to giraffe and we say it is giraffe. Means there is a input data which is mapped with output data, and this input output mapping is taught to this deep neural network. Okay, whenever you are now onwards, we are saying to this new deep neural network that here onwards, once you are shown a picture like this, you should say, recognize it as a horse. Picture like this, recognize it as a giraffe. Picture like this, or otherwise moving and all, maybe it is in the group. then you recognize it as elephant, and picture like this, rhinoceros. So this is the training phase. What I did with you while I shown you those 23 photos of animals. What happens next is, once a neural network has been trained on particular objects, then comes execution phase. What execution phase just now you underwent when I ask you, okay, now I am showing you the animals and you recognize. So you recognize that giraffe, then rhinoceros, then elephants, then horses, along with scenes and everything. Now, execution phase very similar to this deep neural network will be, we indicate to it that this is the group of animals which are already shown to you. Tell me what these animals are. And then this giraffe is used. This is known as execution phase or decision making phase. And this decision making is very similar to human decision making. So this deep neural network becomes a decision maker. Okay? Got it? Now, our agenda, importance of innovative teaching methods, case studies, simulation and research, and how these activities impact the student success. See, ultimately, as a teacher, our responsibility is to make the student learn the new concept. Now, before I embark upon the details of this agenda today, let me ask you very freely and frankly. Some of the participants, there are 47 participants I am observing here. Out of these 47 participants, how many of you were earlier knowing, you may be knowing the name artificial neural network, but then what is the training phase, what is the learning phase, what is the execution phase, and how it is carried out and why it is required, this may not be known to you. I am very confident that after going through these 14 slides, you must have got involved into, it was on Bloom's taxonomy, and sir has come up with something new. He is teaching us animals, their names, then identify the animals, and if the same animals are presented to the computer, can it do the same thing? And then I proved that yes, it is possible. And its manifestation is very much you are very much using this manifestation of artificial neural network when you put images in Google search through lens. Lens को जब आप image दिखाते हो, so you are indirectly showing it that this is the image. I want all the similar photographs or images with you. When you go to your photo gallery and there you search for something, it asks you कि आपके पास में कोई similar photo होगा तो वो दिखाइए. So wherever that person or photograph you are showing is available in all its database, all those photographs it is going to output you. What it is doing, that is the execution phase. Means inside that Google search through lens, neural network, artificial neural network or deep neural networks are in action. They are in action. And it is artificial intelligence. You say it is AI based. We have AI assistant. All those AI assistants and everything, they are nothing but deep neural network. My question here is, when I have shown you a case study. What was that case study? Introduction to artificial neural network by means of simulating the human behavior through ANN, and that was because of my pedagogical research. Okay, in what manner should I teach? Suppose this is my introduction slides when I start teaching to our students artificial neural network. मेरे ANN का पहला जो क्लास होता है वो 1 घंटा इस पे चलता है. I have simply shown you first 14 slides. इसके बाद में I have total 61 slides in my first lecture, wherein I teach how biological neural networks are there, biological neuron, it is replaced by artificial neuron, perceptron, then biological neural network replaced by artificial neural network, and how they are trained, what is the back propagation algorithm, and so on, which is not of the concern here. My point to show you these 14 slides, introductory slide, was that it is an example of a case study. For our agenda, this is an example of a case study which is showing you some simulation of a human brain through ANN. And by showing this case study properly manured to teach comes from research in teaching. I am not talking about research in your area. You got PhD in your area of application or your domain of branch of engineering. I am not talking about that research. I am talking about innovative methods teaching for making the student learn. The purpose of the Bloom's taxonomy is basically to design the curriculum in such a manner that memorization power of the student is increased. Then we have understanding, then we have analysis, then we have synthesis design, and then we have fifth one, actual application. So these 5 phases, they indicate at cognitive level of the learner what changes should take place when you are teaching. Understand that, please understand that teaching and learning, these are the 2 phases. When teaching is going on does not mean that learning is happening. And when learning is happening doesn't mean that someone is teaching. Otherwise, you tell me, how did you learn your mother tongue? मम्मी ने अपने को ब्लैक बोर्ड और चॉक स्टिक लेके सिखाया नहीं अ आ इ ई अलिफ बे पे या ABCD क्या होती है. By listening, we learned that mother tongue. So there was no express teaching going on. It was learning going on. So understand that when we are teaching in a class, or nowadays, why this is important, why I have switched on this method of innovative teaching using case study, simulation, and research, that all these 45 participants which are visible to me at this moment, I can tell you from my experience as well, because of invent of technology, internet, and Google search, and so many AI tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and whatnot, they being available, it is very difficult for a teacher to keep hold of students in a classroom for 60 minutes. Tell me you agree with this or not. The moment you start your PPT, immediately student will search it on net, and then he will start better PPT than yours. And then he will start learning from there. In the classroom teaching, it is very difficult. And that is the reason it is incumbent of our part, on our part as a teacher, to devise innovative teaching methods in the light of Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy को क्या चाहिए? Memorization. What are the action verbs by which you can test whether the student has memorized the thing? उसको याद रहेगा या नहीं रहेगा? वो उसके लिए क्या करते हैं आप? You ask him the question like, define. If he can define something, that means he is remembering. If he can compare and contrast, that means he is remembering. उसको याद रहा. When whether he has understood it correctly or not, then you ask, analyze, describe. So understanding will be by that action verb. Then third comes analysis. Whether he is able to analyze the situation. तो आप वहाँ पे उसको case study दोगे, और case study देने के बाद में उस पे आप question पूछोगे. Then you will be able to ask, and if he is able to answer, then you know that your analysis has been in cognitive learning process. The student has developed the skill of analysis. Then you ask him to design a particular circuit by using whatever you have taught. So design a half-wave rectifier for so much of regulation, so much of voltage, and so much AC and DC. So if he can design a half-wave rectifier, that means in that Bloom's taxonomy, design phase, yes, he has learned. Then finally, you want him to innovate. Okay, you have learned this half wave, full wave, bridge rectifiers. इसको यूज करके आपको एक बैटरी चार्जर अगर बनाना है तो यू सजेस्ट some innovative method of designing and application wherein we can have a very low size, very small size, miniature size charger which can be fitted into the mobile itself. आज भी मोबाइल में डायरेक्टली चार्जर्स आर नॉट अवेलेबल, यू हैव टू एक्सटर्नली गिव दैट इनपुट, बट देन देयर आर सम mobile phones nowadays, maybe from iPhone, Google Pixel, if you see, they are having wireless charging method. You can map the two mobile phone together, and through Bluetooth, you'll find that other mobile is getting charged from your iPhone. So this is innovative design. Someone has applied that Bloom's taxonomy to design a new kind of application by learning the conventional things, analyzing them, and then designing, and after designing, synthesizing some new application. That is what the purpose of Bloom's taxonomy is. Memorization, understanding, analysis, design, and then synthesizing the application. So these 5 phases, they are to be incorporated in our teaching method in such a manner that student will be able to learn. And one single point of today's discussion, if you should take away as a teacher, you must research the new teaching methods so that effective learning takes place. Don't bother about, आप देखिए पहले कैसा होता था कन्वेंशनल लेक्चर्स में, आई विल कम टू दैट पॉइंट, व्हाट इज द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ इनोवेटिव टीचिंग मेथड्स, ट्रेडिशनल वर्सेस मॉडर्न टीचिंग मेथड्स. ट्रेडिशनल मेथड्स में क्या था, इट वाज ए टीचर सेंट्रिक मेथड. You go to the class, take the blackboard chalk stick, start teaching with your lectures. Maybe आपके पास transparency होगा उस जमाने में, so it was more teacher centric. And then you start lecturing, 1 hour you lecture, because no other resource alternative was available to the students, and because you were having 20 internal marks in your hand, so the student वो चाह के ना चाह के भी 60 मिनट आपके लेक्चर को बैठता है. And passive learning used to take place. You are under impression, अपना एक मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग या जो भी बोलो आप, गलत फहमी बोलो या खुश फहमी बोलो कि अरे आई एम वेरी गुड टीचर. मैं जब भी क्लास में जाता हूँ तो स्टूडेंट्स आर सो अटेंटिव एंड दे लर्न सो मच कि मेरे 60 के 60 मिनट में मैं जो पढ़ाता हूँ वो सब समझ में आता है उसको. Which is not the case. In traditional methods, in teacher centric, passive learning takes place. So passive learning is not a effective teaching or effective learning. Modern methods are student centric. We want to investigate by research modern methods which are more student centric, and any method which is to become a student centric requires involvement, engagement of the student in the teaching learning process. उसका involvement और engagement जितना ज़्यादा रहेगा, the method will be that effective. So because of modern methods being student centric, active learning with real world application takes place, and that is the crux of the matter. That is the crux of the matter. Get it? So why shift to innovative methods? Because they are going to increase the engagement of the student, and because of that engagement, Bloom's taxonomy indirectly, when it is applied for evaluation of the students, okay, whether he is able to remember, whether he is able to understand, whether he is able to analyze, synthesis, design, or he is able to devise new application by innovative methods, ये सब टेस्ट करने के लिए अब वो ब्लू टैक्सोनॉमी हम यूज करते हैं. Yes, but then our teaching method has been reformed so as to map with the action verb of the Bloom's taxonomy. There are 96 plus action verbs. 96 plus action verbs which are at the level of lowest level, which is known as memorization, then understanding, then analysis, then design synthesis, and finally innovation. So at every level, there are certain action verbs. If those action verbs are answered, replied, responded by the learner in affirmative, that means learning has occurred and it is effective learning. So why innovate? Because it is going to increase the engagement of the student. अभी अदरवाइज मुझे ये वेरी ऑनेस्टली और ईमानदारी से आप मुझे बताइए, द मोमेंट आई shown you my first slide of 4 animals, your engagement enhanced, आपकी क्यूरियोसिटी बढ़ गई. अरे सर तो ब्लूम्स टैक्सोनॉमी पे बोलने वाले थे और सर ने हमारे को क्या है, कैट और काऊ और क्या हुआ दिखा, कैट तो नहीं दिखाया मैंने आपको, काऊ, हॉर्स, टाइगर, लायन एंड सो मेनी. So it is increased engagement. The moment you innovate your teaching method, you will increase the engagement of the student and it will give better critical thinking. At least one of the participants could immediately respond to my question. Is it possible for the computer to recognize the animals very similar to as we human beings have recognized? The fellow was involved. That is the reason he very critically analyzes, thinking करके immediately उन्होंने कहा नहीं सर ये possible नहीं होता. Yes, though the answer was different, but it shows the involvement. देखिए, या तो आपको पूरा समझ में आ गया या फिर नहीं समझ में आया. Only this thing will be there. It will not be partial learning. Either learning has occurred और लर्निंग हैज नॉट ऑकर्ड. ये दो ही है, इसमें फजी नहीं है. इफ लर्निंग हैज टू ऑकर एंड इफ वी से दैट लर्निंग हैज ऑकर्ड इफेक्टिवली in the light of Bloom's taxonomy, then all the 5 phases of Bloom's taxonomy must be satisfied when we are evaluating a learner for his performance. Basically, Bloom's taxonomy जो इनिशियली 1965 में बेंजामिन ब्लूम उन्होंने जब ये इंट्रोड्यूस किया था, द आइडिया वाज, ही वाज एन एजुकेशनलिस्ट, द आइडिया वाज टू आइडेंटिफाई दोज एक्शन वर्ब्स बाय मींस ऑफ विच वी कैन इवैल्यूएट ए लर्नर, कि उसका लर्निंग कौन से लेवल तक हुआ है. फॉर दैट पर्पस दिस ब्लूम्स टैक्सोनॉमी वाज इंट्रोड्यूस्ड. वेरी राइट. बट ओवर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम देन मॉडिफाइड ब्लूम्स 1972 में या 1982 में a newer version of Bloom's taxonomy came, which was focused more on innovative methods of teaching so that we can make the student effectively learn. Innovative methods of teaching will be always enhancing the engagement of the student with your material you are presenting so as to give it better critical thinking, and this will show him application of theory in real world scenarios, which is the last phase of our Bloom's taxonomy. जहाँ पे we want ultimately the effective learning has taken place. The moment a person after graduating from our college, a Bachelor of Engineering, he goes to industry and he after going into आपका program outcome है ना वहाँ पे in our NBA as well as NEP, we have program outcome which is tested with the stakeholders, companies, या उसने खुद का स्टार्टअप किया है तो कि whatever knowledge he has gained over the period of 4 years through a particular branch of engineering, to what extent he is successfully able to apply in real life world, in a real world scenario, that is application, that is ultimate aim of that Bloom's taxonomy. Or by designing a new innovative method of teaching, you are making the learning more effective. Research in teaching means what? It is talking about research in pedagogy. पढ़ाने के मेथड जो अलग अलग है. We are enhancing the teaching methods by research. By doing research in pedagogy, what we are trying to do is we are trying to enhance the teaching methods. मुझे ये बताइए आप, आज की डेट में माइक्रो प्रोसेसर का 8085 माइक्रो प्रोसेसर का ब्लॉक डायग्राम ब्लैक बोर्ड पे बना के आप 45 मिनट 30 मिनट वेस्ट करना पसंद करोगे, या यू वुड लाइक डायरेक्टली दैट शुड बी शोन बाय एनिमेटेड वर्जन राइट ऑन योर पावर पॉइंट प्रेजेंटेशन? जैसे आप फिजिकली ड्रॉ करते हो, जिसको आपको 30 मिनट्स लगते हैं ड्रॉ करने के लिए, सेम थिंग इन 3 मिनट्स वन बाय वन on animated version of your block diagram, you can show it to the student. So that is research in pedagogy. Pedagogy means different methods of teaching. How should you get student involved? So not only innovative methods of teaching will increase the enhancement, research in teaching. As a teacher, you are researching various teaching methods that will also enhance and bring cutting edge knowledge to the classroom. Research in teaching. What is the example of research backed innovation? Research influence new teaching tools. ये आपको प्रैक्टिकल क्लासरूम एप्लीकेशन में देखने को, प्रैक्टिकल क्लास laboratory sessions. There you involve the student. Now comes case studies. What are case studies? We give real world scenario. अभी आपको मैंने जो दिखाया है वो real world scenario है कि there will come a time when we were asked to identify the objects. और हर कुछ जो भी देखिए, you have noticed it or not, our real world is all object oriented, and we continuously, our brain is simply comparing and contrasting and taking the decision. अभी भी आप जब देख रहे हो, you are looking at an object only. ये जो वर्ड लिखे हुए दिखाई दे रहा है या स्क्रीन दिखाई दे रहा है, that is an object, real world scenario, and you are going to recognize. You know this is W, this is H, A, T, because ये पैटर्न आपको बता दिया है, और ये पैटर्न को जब मिला है तो दैट इज द वर्ड व्हाट, एंड यू नो व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ व्हाट. You understand? So what are case studies? What are case studies? They are real world scenario. जैसे मैंने आपको रियल वर्ल्ड सिनेरियो दिखाया है कि अगर आपको एनिमल के फोटो दिखाए गए, उनके नाम बताए गए, एंड देन आई शो यू mixed photos of animals, then can you recognize those individual objects? Answer is yes. Likewise, can we ask the computer to do the same thing? Answer is yes. By simulation we show. So interactive learning tool to bridge theory and practice. Case study में what we get is interactive learning tools to bridge theory and practice. Abhi you must have used, most of our college we are using virtual laboratories. From IITs, there are so many virtual laboratories available online, so they can be very much utilized for interactive learning tool to bridge theory and practice. So that goes as case studies. Why should we use case studies? It enhances critical thinking. See, innovative method से engagement बढ़ा, whereas case studies से critical thinking will be enhanced. It will promote collaboration and problem solving, and it will be real world application of knowledge. Case study will always show real world application of knowledge. So typically in business course studies, जो MBA वगैरह के केसेस होते हैं, वहाँ पे केस स्टडीज आर टिपिकली द सिनेरियो कि इस तरह का एक नया प्रोडक्ट एक पर्टिकुलर कंपनी को मार्केट में लॉन्च करना है, सो उसके एक्सेप्टेंस लेवल क्या रहेगा, डिवाइस ए केस स्टडी, और देन कम अप ए strategic decision making whether this product launched into the market will be successful or not. Typical of that you can consider film industry. एक न्यू वेब सीरीज इज इंट्रोड्यूस्ड, और वो इंट्रोड्यूस होने के बाद में इसका मार्केट पे कितना इम्पैक्ट होगा, ये फिल्म का टीआरपी कितना आएगा, इसको ओटीटी प्लेटफॉर्म पे लॉन्च किए तो क्या होगा, इसको मेन थिएटर में लॉन्च किए तो क्या होगा, maybe if you convert into a web series तो क्या advantage होगा. All these are done through case studies, and then you come up out with the strategic decision making. Decision making ये है कि इसका promotion अपने को किस ढंग से करना पड़ेगा, so that it will be having better business. So, and this all thing is done through group discussion and analysis. So typically business course में ये case studies very effectively utilized. In our engineering technology also, we can use the case studies depending upon the innovative methods a teacher has devised. Outcome of the case study, it improves the problem solving skill of the learner, and student feedback indicates better understanding. If you take the student feedback out of this case study teaching, then you get to refine your method. आपको ये समझ में आता है कि because of case study, how much effectively the second phase of Bloom's taxonomy understanding has occurred. अगर वो नहीं होता है तो student feedback से then you can modify the parameters in the case study, and you can make some of the action verbs incorporated to the case study so that student will have better problem solving skills. Key benefits of case study is that it builds analytical thinking, it fosters teamwork, because case study is never done alone, it is always going to be in teamwork. Minimum 2 लोगों की तो भी टीम रहेगी, या it can be 4, 5 जैसे प्रोजेक्ट की टीम रहती है. And it enhances subject mastery. Tell me honestly, when you were a student, how many of you studied in isolation? We were always having our group of friends. I personally recall my days of graduation as well as post-graduation. We were always a group. We were in my graduation days, BE days, we were 3 persons together. And in PG, MTech, there also we were 3, क्योंकि टोटल तो इनटेक ही 4 का था. उसमें से एक बेचारा हमारा फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर में ही उसको नॉट फिट फॉर IIT एजुकेशन बिकॉज हिज स्कोर वाज लेस देन 4.5 पॉइंट्स, ग्रेड पॉइंट जो रहते हैं, इट वाज लेस देन 4.5. सो IIT का तो मेथड है सर, if there is no, if it is 5 point something, then you are failed. If it is 4 point something, you are not fit for IIT education, go home. So fourth of the member was after first semester result, he was terminated from the course. We 3 were there. So group पे पढ़ाई करते थे. So it enhanced the subject mastery. Peer level पे जो learning and teaching होता है, it is far better than एक टीचर से टीचिंग लर्निंग जो होता है. अंडरस्टैंड इट एंड एक्सेप्ट इट. उसमें कोई क्रिटिसाइज नहीं कर रहा हूँ मैं. आई हैव आल्सो फेस द सेम थिंग. आई हैव ऑब्जर्व्ड दैट व्हेन स्टूडेंट्स वेयर डिस्कसिंग विद इन देमसेल्फ एज ए ग्रुप, they come out with better understanding rather than as a teacher. I am going to initiate as a teacher, but उसको एक बार आपने कंसेप्ट बता दिया तो उसको उसका मेथड लगा के सीखने दीजिए. So that will better through case studies, it will enhancing the subject mastery. Innovative approach to case studies, आप उसमें केस स्टडी के लिए जस्ट नाउ व्हाट आई हैव शोन यू इनडायरेक्टली, वॉट एवर आई एम स्पीकिंग, आई हैव ऑलरेडी शोन टू यू थ्रू माई case study, simulation, and research in innovative teaching method by using that 14 slides of introduction to artificial neural network. Use of multimedia. I have full-fledged used multimedia. Though because of bandwidth problem, I have not shown you. Otherwise, वो जो horses आपको दौड़ते हुए दिखाई दे रहे हैं, it was a video. It was a video which I have captured from YouTube, and that has been shown as a still image because it was very much bandwidth sensitive. वो वीडियो अगर मैंने दिखाने की कोशिश किया 1-2 बार, I have used it in my slides. That time there was complaint from audience कि सर ये वीडियो दिखाई नहीं देता. So I have dropped that. So use of multimedia, reflective assessment. Reflective assessment का मतलब ये होता है कि I ask you the question and one of the participants, I am thankful to him, he answered no, sir ये possible नहीं है, कंप्यूटर को इस तरह का सिखाना possible नहीं है. That is reflective assessment. उस पे से मुझे पता चला कि यार yes, ये दिखाने के बाद में there is some person who is having critical thinking कि नहीं. See, it is very much appreciable कि when critical thinking occurs, you start learning and you immediately reflect your assessment, your understanding. So it is known as reflective assessment, and you can utilize interdisciplinary cases. मैंने यहाँ पे आपको न्यूरल नेटवर्क बताया है, बट आई हैव यूज इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी केस, एनिमल्स दिखा के उनको पहचानना. नथिंग, नो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस है वहां पे. आई वांटेड टू यूज ए, एंड यू मे आल्सो बी डूइंग, those who were my student, they know, and I always prefer to take student from known to unknown. Best learning takes place if you take a student from known to unknown. Just for example, I will tell you, when I start my computer vision class, computer vision. अब computer vision is an area of artificial intelligence, and that is inspired by biological algorithm which is there in our eyes. We have been given two cameras, two eyes, two cameras, but they are very intelligent cameras, in the sense the moment they capture an image, they capture something, anything that goes to our artificial biological neural network in our brain, wherein they are very fast. Parallelly, they are analyzed and immediately we recognize. The moment I said कि ये विनय काले सर की आवाज है, though I was listening to him on my microphone, maybe वो जो earphone, even then I could recognize. So that is natural intelligence. So natural intelligence को ही अगर अपने को just a minute. When I start teaching computer vision, I ask the student participant to close one eye and identify. एक आंख बंद कीजिए और आइडेंटिफाई आपके सामने कितने ऑब्जेक्ट्स हैं. तो राइट आई आपने बंद की, लेफ्ट आई से आपने देखा, यू आइडेंटिफाई दैट देयर इज वन ऑब्जेक्ट. तो सर ये मेरी पीपीटी चल रही. फिर आप लेफ्ट आई बंद करो, राइट आई ओपन करके देखिए, हाउ मेनी ऑब्जेक्ट यू सी. सर वही एक ही ऑब्जेक्ट दिखाई दे रहा है. नाउ यू ओपन बोथ ऑफ योर आईज, then also you recognize that there is only one object visible to me. एक आंख से एक ऑब्जेक्ट था, दूसरी आंख से भी वो एक ऑब्जेक्ट था, दोनों आंखें खोल के भी दोनों वही ऑब्जेक्ट है. फिर why God has exaggerated by providing us two eyes? देखिए, we have been provided with two eyes, we have been provided with two ears, whereas we have one nose with two nostrils, and we have only one mouth. Mouth, it is multi-purpose. You can speak, you can shout, you can eat, you can drink, you can smoke. Multi-purpose है. Why we could not have, why God did not gift us with 5 different mouths? एक मुंह जिससे सिर्फ बात कर सकेंगे, एक मुंह जिसमें दांत भी रहेंगे और सिर्फ खाने के काम में आएगा, एक मुंह जिससे सिर्फ पी सकेंगे हम, एक मुंह जिससे हम स्मोक कर सकेंगे. दैट कुड बी बेटर. बट बेस्ट एम्बेडेड सिस्टम का एग्जांपल है और फेस, जो अपना ये हेड है, फेस है, दैट इज द बेस्ट एग्जांपल ऑफ एम्बेडेड सिस्टम. ये इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी केस ही है. वहां पे आपको सो मेनी सेंसर्स आर गैदर टुगेदर, और आप देखिए एक्सेप्ट टच सेंस बाकी के सब सेंसेस अपने ब्रेन सीपीयू के नजदीक है, दे आर वेरी नियर टू ईच अदर. गेट इट? जब अपन सेंट्रल प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट के साथ में मेमोरी और दूसरे इनपुट आउटपुट डिवाइसेस कनेक्ट करते हैं इन एन एम्बेडेड सिस्टम, वी वांट the distance between central processing unit, memory and other units as low as possible so that information transfer can be very fast. Best example of that multimedia embedded application is our head. यहाँ पे देखिए आप, your eyes, your nose, your mouth, your ear, they are all at one place and very near to brain. फासला देखिए आप, सब में नजदीक कौन सा है? Nearest is your ear. Don't say eyes. पहले आवाज आती है आपको, अगर आपकी आंखें बंद रही तो पहले आवाज आएगी आपको. You get the sense. And it is that कि when a baby is conceived in the womb, the first faculty which starts is after heartbeat शुरू होने के बाद पहली फैकल्टी जो माँ की कोख में अपने को डेवलप होती है वो है ईयर, listening. And the last faculty when we are dying, the last faculty which goes is ear. Maybe you can investigate on this and you can identify. Otherwise, आप देखिए कि in everywhere it is customary that if you find someone dying, then आपने श्लोक या मंत्र या कुछ आयतें पढ़नी चाहिए, तो वो loudly कान में बोलनी चाहिए, so that is the last thing which is dying. Last faculty to die is ear, listening ability. Well, so what I was talking about, that while teaching, take them from known to unknown. Known to unknown mein this example of computer vision is that why God has gifted us with two eyes. The purpose is that because of two eyes you get 3D vision and you know the depth of the things. सिंगल आई से अगर आप देखते हो तो यू कैनॉट आइडेंटिफाई द डेप्थ ऑफ द ऑब्जेक्ट. आपसे कितनी दूर है उसका फासला आपको गेस नहीं होता है. whereas both the eyes are open, you can immediately guess what it is, how deep it is. This is the example which I take. You take one camera replacing our left eye and then get the picture. You take second camera representing our right eye and take the picture. And combine these two cameras together, you will be surprised to know that there are two pictures from different angles. And they are not very similar to what otherwise through two eyes we are getting the image of that picture. अपने दिमाग में जो मिलता है. So I am taking them from known to unknown. Known है कि दो आंखें हैं, दो कैमरास हैं, उसमें डेप्थ आती है. इसी तरह की डेप्थ दो कैमरे से अगर अपने को लाना है तो इन व्हाट मैनर वी शुड डिजाइन आवर कंप्यूटर विजन सिस्टम so that it will exact replica of our human eyes. Take them from known to unknown. So innovative approach to case studies will take them. एक केस स्टडी दिखा दिया आपने और वो केस स्टडी को दिखा के आपने उसको फिर बाद में नया प्रॉब्लम देखे उसके ऊपर सॉल्यूशन निकालने के लिए बोला, तो दैट विल बी ए बेटर अप्रोच टू इनोवेटिव टीचिंग. सिमुलेशन, virtual or real time scenario, role playing or scenario based exercises. Typically those who are my students at college, those who are now teachers, and if I was fortunate enough to teach them computer network, then आज भी डॉक्टर पी.वी. इंगोले अगर वो होंगे यहाँ पे पार्टिसिपेंट, तो ही मे रिकॉल कि
Yes, sir, I am very much here.
So sir, if you recall, कंप्यूटर नेटवर्क में 7 लेयर मॉडल हमने वो किया था क्लासरूम में.
Role play.
हाँ,
Yes,
रोल
sir.
प्लेइंग किया. यस.
Yes, sir.
Each one of the participant was given physical layer, then another participant data link layer, then
Yes.
layer, and so on up to अब प्रेजेंटेशन है एप्लीकेशन लेयर 7 लेयर, so 7 layer
Yes, sir.
transmitter side में और 7 layer on receiver side, and then we asked each one of the person to play the role of data link layer, physical layer है आप, तो physical layer पे क्या क्या प्रोटोकॉल है वो आप बिहेव करेंगे. एंड लेट मी टेल यू, वो जो हमने एक्सरसाइज किया था, इट हैज टेकन अस 45 मिनट्स, बट उसके बाद में जितने भी पार्टिसिपेंट थे उनके अभी तक के मुझे फीडबैक आते हैं कि सर वो रोल प्ले आपने जो करवाया था, सेम थिंग एज ए टीचर आई एम रिपीटिंग इन माय क्लास, एंड आई फाइंड दैट इट इज सो इफेक्टिव दैट हम उसके ऊपर कोई इनोवेट ही नहीं कर पाए. दैट रोल प्लेइंग और सिनेरियो बेस्ड एक्सरसाइजेज आर सच दैट दे विल स्ट्रेंथन द लर्निंग विल बी स्ट्रेंथन. सो सिमुलेशन, मैंने अभी आपको भी जो कुछ थोड़ी बहुत चीज दिखाई है यहाँ पे, I have indirectly simulated the human brain shown by means of neural network. तो वो वहां पे थोड़ा सा अपन ने सिमुलेट करके दिखाया है. Why use simulation? इससे इमर्सिव लर्निंग होता है. सी डिफरेंस, केस स्टडी से क्रिटिकल लर्निंग, क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग आता है. सिमुलेशन से इमर्सिव लर्निंग, द पर्सन गेट्स इन्वॉल्व इनटू, बिकॉज रोल प्लेइंग में आपको खुद को वो रोल प्ले करना है फिजिकल लेयर का. तो फिजिकल लेयर पे जो जो प्रोटोकॉल है वो सब आपको ध्यान में रखना पड़ता है कि अरे ये मैं कर सकता हूँ, ये मैं नहीं कर सकता हूँ. एंड देन वी कुड टीच टू ईच वन ऑफ द, और बाकी के देखिए 7 और 7 14 ही लोग हैं दोज हु आर इन्वॉल्व. रेस्ट ऑफ द पीपल वेयर सिंपली वॉचिंग. सो बट दे कुड लर्न. बाद में ये 14 लोगों को निकाल के हमने दूसरे 14 लोगों की टीम डाली, तो दे वेर लर्निंग. एंड लाइकवाइज 3 घंटे में 2 घंटे का जो प्रैक्टिकल रहता था उसमें 28 लोगों को हम ऐसा ट्रेन करते थे. सिमुलेशन टिपिकली बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट सिमुलेशन का एग्जाम आता है मेडिकल सिमुलेशन, बिकॉज वर्चुअल पेशेंट डायग्नोसिस, रियल टाइम डिसीजन मेकिंग अंडर प्रेशर, दिस कैन बी वेरी वेल डन. एंड मेडिकल सिमुलेशन का जो आउटकम रिपोर्ट हुआ है, इट इज बेटर क्लिनिकल स्किल्स टू द डॉक्टर्स हु आर गेटिंग ट्रेन, इंक्रीज कॉन्फिडेंस एंड नॉलेज रिटेंशन, बिकॉज फिजिकली आप देखते हो. एंड दैट इज द रीजन इन एवरी मेडिकल डिग्री इंटर्नशिप ऑफ 1 or 1.5 year इज कंपल्सरी. फिजिकली जब तक के वो फुल इंटर्नशिप करता नहीं है तब तक के उसको डिग्री नहीं मिलती. दैट इज द because he is for 1.5 year he is simulating, he is seeing the simulation and part of that. So immersive learning takes place. However, there are challenges in implementing simulation because it is very resource intensive, technical requirement रहते हैं. अगर अभी अपने को मैंने जो आपको सिमुलेशन दिखाया है उसमें इनडायरेक्टली सो मच ऑफ इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी अच्छी चाहिए, देन आपके पास में प्रेजेंटेशन का सॉफ्टवेयर चाहिए, मेरे पास में प्रेजेंटेशन का सॉफ्टवेयर चाहिए, वी विल बी एबल टू ज्वाइन दिस थ्रू ए मीटिंग. आप देखिए इनडायरेक्टली 5000 प्लस प्रोटोकॉल्स आर इन एक्शन व्हेन वी आर ऑनलाइन डीलिंग विद दिस क्लासरूम. अभी अपना जो ये टीचिंग लर्निंग वॉट एवर सेशन इज गोइंग ऑन, इसमें एज दिस मोमेंट मोर देन 5000 कंप्यूटर नेटवर्क प्रोटोकॉल आर एट वर्क. Then only seamlessly it is possible as if we are sitting together and then delivering and receiving the lecture. So simulations are resource intensive. There are certain technical requirement, and for that purpose we have to utilize low cost virtual tools. जैसे अभी अपन ने यहाँ पे Zoom या जो भी यूज किया है तो लो कॉस्ट वर्चुअल टूल्स लिया है. एंड फॉर simulation purposes it is better to collaborate with industry wherein they are having some simulation tools for training purposes. They can be utilized for our students learning also. research based learning overview ये है कि students are engaged in inquiry and original research. We are talking about research based learning, research based teaching where we are innovating the new methods of teaching. research based learning में we ask the students to come up with something for better learning. Student engage in inquiry and original research, and we, because of this, active learning through independent projects. The moment you give a mini project or main project to the student, indirectly we are engaging him into inquiry and asking him to do original research. It is quite possible that at BTech level, we may ask him to simply replicate one of the अदर प्रोजेक्ट विच हैज बीन डन समवेयर, GitHub पे बहुत सारे प्रोजेक्ट्स अवेलेबल रहते हैं, उसको लेके उसने एक्चुअली इंप्लीमेंट किया तो भी उसकी इंक्वायरी बढ़ती है, एंड ही विल इनोवेट समथिंग न्यू आउट ऑफ इट. Why should we incorporate? It impacts on student success by encouraging deeper understanding. It fosters the critical analysis. Research में critical analysis by default आना ही है. You please remember this. I always say, एक typical मन आहे मराठीमध्ये, maybe a little bit away, but then it very much suits to Bloom's taxonomy and research. निंदकाचे घर असावे शेजारी. You must have heard someone in my talk somewhere, someone prompted me by saying this, कि सर निंदकाचे घर असावे शेजारी, meaning that your neighbor must be a good critic to you so that you can improve upon your mistakes, your shortcomings, your limitations are made known by, so we should thank that. The moment this saying was pronounced before me, कि भाई निंदकाचे घर असावे शेजारी, immediately I reacted on it. I say spontaneous came from my mind, and she was a lady who told me this saying कि सर आपल्याला माहित आहे का की निंदकाचे घर असावे शेजारी. What is the meaning? And she explained me this. Then I immediately spontaneously came from me की असं आहे ना मॅडम, तर निंदक असावे शेजारी, घर कशाला, तो आपला शेजारच पाहिजे, अँड दॅट इज द रिझन वी गेट मॅरिड. दॅट इज द रिझन वी गेट मॅरिड. कारण की निंदक आपण सोबत घेतो. मग वेदर युअर स्पाउस इज हजबंड और वाईफ, निंदक इज विथ यू all the time. He or she will keep you reminding your weaknesses. And maybe on the other side, don't take it otherwise, ke nindak being together will always keep you up and running. Yaar nahi yaar, madam will criticize ke nahi, ye aapki aadat barabar nahi hai. It is not the way you should talk to the people. Somewhere I was just scolding someone. So she immediately corrected me, this is not the way you should talk to a human being, though he is disturbing you at this moment when you are involved in some other work, but then there are some human values. So निंदकाचे घर असावे शेजारी, I corrected it to maybe spontaneously. उस वक्त मुझे ये ध्यान आया कि निंदक असावे शेजारी, तो आपला शेजारच पाहिजे, together, and that is the reason we get married. एंड वो मेरा टॉक खत्म होने के बाद में, ये बोलने के बाद में, देन आई केम फ्रॉम कॉन्फ्रेंस रूम टू इनटू माय कैबिन, और उसी वक्त मेरा एक पीएचडी का स्टूडेंट कोई डिस्कशन के लिए आया. इमीडिएटली देन आई रिकॉल्ड कि अरे यार, ये निंदकाचे घर असावे शेजारी, इम्प्रूव टू निंदक असावे शेजारी, एंड देन डूइंग पीएचडी, डूइंग रिसर्च मीन्स निंदक शुड बी विद इन यू. Nindak should be within you. The critic should be within you. The purpose of gaining a PhD, doing a research, is to identify the critic within you. Those who are holding PhD here, अपने पार्टिसिपेंट में जितने भी लोग PhD होंगे, just because अली सर बोल रहे हैं इसलिए नहीं, इसके ऊपर आपने सोचना कि before you gained a PhD and after you gained a PhD, you realize that you do not know anything. PhD मिलने के बाद ही आपको ये रियलाइज होता है कि आपको कुछ नहीं आता, बिकॉज यू रियलाइज कि यार 168 रिसर्चर के पेपर लेके मैंने मेरी थीसिस में डेल्टा एक्स कंट्रीब्यूट किया, वो भी टेकन द वर्क आउट ऑफ 168, तो डायरेक्टली मेरे पीएचडी थीसिस के रेफरेंस है. वो रेफरेंसेस के क्रॉस रेफरेंसेस अगर मैंने देखे तो इट इज मोर देन 1000. तो ये 1000 रिसर्चर के काम करने के बाद में आई कुड गेट ए पीएचडी विद डेल्टा एक्स कंट्रीब्यूशन. हाउ मच आई नो, टिप ऑफ आइसबर्ग. एंड दैट इज द रीजन व्हाई इनकॉर्पोरेट रिसर्च, it fosters critical analysis. और सब में बेस्ट क्रिटिकल एनालिसिस द सेल्फ क्रिटिक. If after acquiring your PhD, you have become open to criticism by anyone, आपका दोस्त रहो, दुश्मन रहो, कोई भी रहो, वो अगर आपको क्रिटिसाइज करता है एंड यू कैन एक्सेप्ट इट विद ओपन हार्ट, पैट योरसेल्फ ऑन बैक कि यू आर ट्रू PhD होल्डर. It should foster critical analysis and self-critical analysis. It prepares students for real-world challenges. Research, incorporating research in your teaching learning process will prepare your learner for real-world challenges. उसको ये समझ में आएगा कि मैंने 6 महीने 1 साल लगा के कितना भी अच्छा पेपर तैयार किया और उसको मैं एक इंटरनेशनल जर्नल में भेजता हूँ, एंड देन आई वेट कि अरे इतना अच्छा पेपर लिखा मैंने कि आइंस्टाइन भी नहीं लिख सकता था, एंड देन आफ्टर 1 month or so you get a good love letter of rejection of your paper. कैसा फील होता है? वो जिनका पेपर रिजेक्ट होके आया है ना, उनसे पूछिए आप. एज इफ समवन हैज स्लैप्ड यू कंसिस्टेंटली. जब वो रिव्यू पढ़ते हो रिव्यूअर का, उसके अंदर जो बोलता है कि तुम्हारी इंग्लिश बराबर नहीं है, अरे तुमने यार इतने सारे रेफरेंस डाल दिए, ये तो रिसर्च पेपर इसका था, कॉन्फ्रेंस का था, उसके अंदर आपने 45 रिसर्च पेपर डाल के, लिटरेचर रिव्यू डाल के क्या तो तीर मारा है. ऑल दोस थिंग्स, these were the comments from one of my paper which I prepared for 6 months, presented into one IEEE conference, presented में उसको सबमिट किया मैंने, और 6 महीने के बाद, 2-3 महीने के बाद में उधर से रिप्लाई आया है कि यूर पेपर इज समरली रिजेक्टेड बिकॉज ऑफ फॉलोइंग रीजंस. ये 2 रिव्यूअर है, उनके रिव्यू आप पढ़ लीजिए एंड सॉरी फॉर इनकन्वीनियंस एंड सो ऑन. वो रिवर के रिव्यू पढ़ने के बाद में इतना बुरा लगा सर, 7 days आई वाज सो अपसेट. बिकॉज आपको लगता है कि यार उसमें वो एक यूके के थे, आई सैल्यूट दैट मैन, बिकॉज 7 दिन के बाद when I came out of that setback, when I critically looked at those referees remarks, thinking कि ये अपने लिए नहीं रिमार्क है, ये किसी और के लिए अपन ने रिमार्क दिया है, इसको पढ़ते अपन, then I realized कि यार वो जो कुछ भी बात बोली उन्होंने वो तो सब सही है. That has given us critical analysis of self-analysis, critical self-analysis, doing research, and that is what the life is. रिसर्च प्रोजेक्ट एग्जांपल्स जो हम करते हैं इंजीनियरिंग में, अपन मिनी प्रोजेक्ट्स भी अवार्ड टू द स्टूडेंट, और स्टूडेंट कंडक्ट रिसर्च ऑन रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी सॉल्यूशंस. ये तो अभी अक्रॉस द ब्रांचेस हो गया, वेदर यू बिलोंग टू मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग, सिविल इंजीनियरिंग, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स इंजीनियरिंग, कंप्यूटर इंजीनियरिंग, रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी सॉल्यूशंस हैव बिकम research area in every field of engineering. So you do this and then present findings to industry experts. So iska utilization they can do, and then you can patent on it. All these things taken together means case studies, simulation, and research in teaching and as well as in learning will make us good learner. Because of research based learning, it develops critical thinking, it encourages innovation. देखिए, human brain is one thing we should please remember कि to whatever extent AI is progressing, आर्टमैन को भी अगर आप पूछेंगे, या बिल गेट्स ने जो ऑलरेडी बोल दिया है उन्होंने कि यू कैनॉट रिप्लेस ए ह्यूमन ब्रेन. It encourages innovation. That innovation may be to some extent possible by AI tools, but they will never, word is never, replace human innovation. क्योंकि ह्यूमन ब्रेन को एक ऐसा पावर दिया है, the Almighty has bestowed us with that power, which can never be imitated in any high level language model. वो क्या बोलते हैं, machine level learning, MLL model. It encourages innovation. It enhances communication and presentation skills. अगर आपको मेरे ये सेंटेंस का कुछ अलग लग रहा होगा कि AI विल बी नेवर एबल टू रिप्लेस ह्यूमन ब्रेन। आप पैटर्न देख लीजिए। You give any question, query, same query you give to ChatGPT, you give it to Copilot, Microsoft का, you give it to Google Gemini, and you see और अभी तो ये मेटा पे भी आ गया, अपने व्हाट्सएप पे, उसको भी आप वही क्वेश्चन देके दीजिए, you will find that there is a typical pattern by which they answer. And all those 4 answers, if you see same query, same prompt, and you see the answer, you will find a common pattern. वो क्वेश्चन को मॉडिफाई करके आप चारों को दीजिए, उसके बाद में उसका रिप्लाई आने दीजिए, you observe the response, you will find that you can always identify, as a human brain, you can identify pattern into it. वही सवाल आप दूसरे दिन पूछिए उसको, वही सवाल आप एक हफ्ते बाद पूछिए, you will find that you will be still able to identify the pattern. And that is how plagiarism check is done. So आप बोलते हो ना कि सर ये AI आने की वजह से रिसर्च बहुत इजी हो गया. रिसर्च इजी हो गया for that person who is really having natural intelligence. चैट जीपीटी या ये AI मॉडल से रिस्पॉन्स लेने के बाद उसको ह्यूमन इंटेलिजेंस लगा के प्रोसेस करने का नाम है रिसर्च. Don't ask that AI tool to come out with some solution. That solution will be there, but it will not be innovative solution. आपने कितना भी उसको इनोवेटिव वर्ड बोला, वो उसके नॉलेज बेस में से निकाल के लाएगा तो वैसे ही रहेगा. It cannot parallel with human innovation. It is possible to integrate these 3 tools together, which I did in my example. Those 14 slides which I have shown you, it is the example of case study with simulation and research in teaching methods. So blending these methods together means combining case study, simulation and research for holistic learning will create a more dynamic learning experience. Or without anything on it, I will just ask you a question कि after going through those 14 slides, जो लोगों को AI या आर्टिफिशियल न्यूरल नेटवर्क कैसे काम करता है ये नहीं मालूम होगा, आई कैन गारंटीड वेज टेल यू कि उनको एटलीस्ट ये तो मालूम पड़ गया कि यार आर्टिफिशियल न्यूरल नेटवर्क में एक ट्रेनिंग फेज रहता है और एक एग्जीक्यूशन फेज रहता है. जैसे कि मैं पहले कोई चीज लर्निंग करता हूँ और वो थोड़े दिन लर्निंग ट्रेनिंग होने के बाद में देन आई अप्लाई इट टू द रियल वर्ल्ड सिचुएशन. सो देयर आई एम यूजिंग एग्जीक्यूटिंग दैट लर्निंग whatever I've done. Typical example you can consider, बहुत ही manifestation of this is when you learn driving, 4-wheeler driving करते हो या जब आपने, क्योंकि वो अभी immediately अपन ने किया होगा, otherwise you recall your days of riding a bicycle. साइकिल चलाना सीखा अपन ने, पहले अपन सिर्फ वो हैंडल ले लेके दौड़ते थे उसको, फिर बाद में पैडल पे सर के वो कैंची चलाया, फिर डंडा चलाया, देन सीट पे बैठे, ऑल दैट what we are doing, we were learning. अब आप रिकॉल कीजिए कि जो साइकिल पे आपने साइकिल चलाना सीखा वही साइकिल जिंदगी भर अवेलेबल है कि आपको. डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ बाइसिकल्स यू आर यूजिंग, बट देन यू हैव लर्नड दैट. So you have dynamically situation is changing, then also you are able to apply your knowledge base to it. That is what teaching learning is, by means of case studies, simulation and research. All this culminates into outcome-based education, OBE, which is ultimate aim of Bloom's taxonomy. How these activities align with OBE? They focus on measurable outcomes. आपको ये दिखाई देना चाहिए कि यार हाँ यार ये लेक्चर शुरू करने से पहले मुझे ANN क्या है ये भी पता नहीं था. Whereas ये लेक्चर होने के बाद में सर ने एक एग्जांपल मुझे बताई ऐसा कि वो 23 एनिमल्स थे, उनको सर ने फोटो बता के नाम बताया, उसके बाद में सिर्फ फोटो बताई, सीन बताया और मुझे पहचानने के लिए बोला और आई कुड रिकॉग्नाइज इट. सो ये हो गया आपका फिर parallel to that I simulated it by means of artificial neural network. आउटकम बेस्ड एजुकेशन है ये, जहां पे आपको ANN का बेसिक, ये 1-1.5 घंटे के डिस्कशन में आपको केस स्टडी, सिमुलेशन, रिसर्च बेस्ड लर्निंग, रिसर्च बेस्ड टीचिंग, ये 4-5 पैरामीटर तो याद रहेगा. एंड ऑल दिस इज गोइंग टू ब्लूम्स टैक्सोनॉमी. और दो आई हैव नॉट शोन यू ए सिंगल स्लाइड ऑन दैट पिरामिड ऑफ ब्लूम्स टैक्सोनॉमी, मैंने वो जानबूझ के नहीं दिखाई, फॉर द रीजन कि व्हेन आई एम स्पीकिंग विद रेफरेंस टू द लोएस्ट लेयर, memory, remembering, memorizing, remembering. Then next layer is understanding. Next, third layer is analysis. Fourth layer is synthesis, design. And fifth one is innovation, application. So ये याद रहेगा. And that all culminates into OBE, outcome-based education, which is focusing on measurable outcomes. It enhances learning through continuous assessment and reflection. Reflection means you take the feedback from the student. According to that feedback, you modify your teaching method so that learning will become effective. Don't ask learner to saying कि अरे तेरे को इतना भी नहीं समझता. No, उसको नहीं समझता इसलिए ही वो स्टूडेंट है. And that is the reason I say, मेरा अगर आप टैग लाइन देखोगे तो I always say I am lifelong learner, because a teacher has to be a lifelong learner. अगर आप टीचिंग फील्ड में आए हो तो बी ओपन टू न्यू आइडियाज. आज भी मुझे याद आता है, जस्ट बिकॉज ही इज पार्ट एंड दैट इज द रीजन आई एम स्पीकिंग. I belong to electrical field basically, and I am proud to say that because of I went into an environment like College of Engineering Badnera, where I was exposed to computer science engineering, then teaching the subject belonging to CSE. I could become a supervisor in computer science engineering without having a degree in computing. 22 candidates, as on date, 22 candidates in computer science engineering have completed their PhD and awarded PhD under my supervision. Wherein, in one of the interviews, I was asked, sir, आपके पास में कंप्यूटर की कौन सी डिग्री है? And because of that question, I thank that man who asked me that question. Immediately, next semester, I went to Government Polytechnic and got admitted there for PG Diploma in Information Technology. PGDIT, that time I remember I was 47 years of age. You have to be a lifelong learner. Another live example I will place you before, because PV Ingole sir already participant hai yahan pe. He belongs to electronics and telecommunication, and CDAC mein he used to teach Visual Basics, and he was known as a proficient teacher all across CDAC centers India. इंडिया के जो 85 सेंटर्स थे सीडैक के, वहां पे बेस्ट ऑफ द टीचर ऑफ विजुअल बेसिक वाज नोन एज, आई एम वेरी प्राउड टू से, कॉलेज ऑफ इंजीनियरिंग बडनेरा का सीडैक सेंटर, वेयर प्रोफेसर पीवी इंगोले सर का नाम था, बिलोंगिंग टू इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एंड टेलीकम्युनिकेशन, बिकॉज वी बिलीव इन लाइफ लॉन्ग लर्निंग. कितने लोगों को पता होगा कि सर विजुअल बेसिक पढ़ाते थे वहां सीडैक पे, बट ही इज एक्सपर्ट इन वी. आज भी मुझे कभी डिफिकल्टी आती है तो आई कॉन्टेक्ट हिम के सर ये वीबी में कैसा होता है. एंड सिमिलर वाज द केस विद मी के व्हेन एट सीडैक वन ऑफ आवर फैकल्टी रैन अवे हु वाज टीचिंग जावा टेक्नोलॉजी, so I was assigned that. And I remember, I confess very openly, you must be a lifelong learner because you are a teacher. The day I was assigned the job of, sir, it was Friday, I still remember, it was Friday, और फ्राइडे को मुझे हेड ऑफ द डिपार्टमेंट और हेड ऑफ सीडैक सेंटर उन्होंने बोला कि सर मंडे से आपको जावा टेक्नोलॉजी का क्लास शुरू हो रहा है सीडैक में, एंड यू हैव टू टीच इट. आई वाज नॉट इन जे ऑफ जावा, बट लेट मी टेल यू, because I love taking such kind of challenges, I took it. And उसका आउटकम एजुकेशन जो बोलते हैं अपन, उसका आउटकम ये हुआ कि बिकॉज ऑफ एक्सपोज टू जावा टेक्नोलॉजी, I designed my platform for my PhD, which was Fuzzy Neural Intelligent Tutoring System for the World Wide Web. That was my PhD topic. Fuzzy Neural या हाँ फजी न्यूरल इंटेलिजेंट ट्यूटरिंग सिस्टम फॉर वर्ल्ड वाइड वेब, पूरा पूरा प्रोजेक्ट का सिमुलेशन बाय यूजिंग मैटलैब सिमुलेटर, सिमुलिंक एंड जावा टेक्नोलॉजी। 1998 से 2001 तक के जो मैंने जावा टेक्नोलॉजी पढ़ाई या सीखी, I could utilize it to my PhD when I submitted it in the year 2005. So that is where you get benefited. So learning new technology, embracing new technology as a teacher is always advisable. Otherwise, your case will be very similar to Nokia. I need not to tell you, you are intelligent enough to understand what is the meaning of that. So as a teacher, when we are coming to learn Bloom's taxonomy, I have manifested here the use of Bloom's taxonomy indirectly for lifelong learning. As a teacher, we should be part of lifelong learning so as to contribute to this outcome-based education. Measuring impact, assessment based on critical thinking and practical application, tracking progress through case studies, simulation and research, that is very much possible. So student feedback and reflective learning will definitely give you what way your teaching method is making learning effective. And then finally, you can use this learning analytics. जैसे business analytics है, big data, data analytics, data sciences. When we have data analytics, likewise in field of teaching learning, we have learning analytics. ये जो utilizing the feedback from student, you can have data-driven decisions for modifying your teaching method, modifying your case studies, simulation and research, doing further research, and tracking the progress and adjusting your teaching methods accordingly will be the best way of using this learning analytics. So to conclude, key takeaways from our today's discussion should be that case studies, simulation and research, they enrich student success. उसका best example ये है कि if you could remember that example out of my 14 slides where I have just introduced the working of artificial neural network, it enriches student success. मेरा पर्पज ही वो था कि जो भी 47 पार्टिसिपेंट, अभी 39 बज गए इसमें, बाकी गायब हो गए, 39 participants who are remaining 38 now. So maybe they started joining. क्या अभी सर का लेक्चर खत्म हो रहा है, so let us come and join. So now it has become 39. So it's okay. So these 39 participants, they have enriched their. I could see this case study, simulation, and research has enriched their success. And indirectly, you are all encouraged to innovate in teaching methods. Thank you. So nice of you. Thank you very much. I suppose my time is also exhausted. It's 5:41. Yes, sir. Can I close? Or you have any questions?
Sir, I'm PV Ingole.
हाँ PV sir, बोलिए.
Really thankful to you for recalling those days.
अरे सर वो तो मुझे बहुत याद आते.
Basically, what happened that during those days I had decided that not to run away.
Correct.
And then what to do for that? So I tied my leg with my leg, not to run from the situation. You have to deliver in those situations. Yeah. So nice to listen to your talk, sir, today. It was very innovative and very informative. Easy to implement.
I thought that I will share some of those things. Recently, सर ने जब मुझे बताया सर ब्लूम्स टैक्सोनॉमी पे बोलेंगे क्या आप, मैं बोला आई विल डेफिनेटली स्पीक ऑन ब्लूम्स टैक्सोनॉमी बट आई विल गो मोर प्रैक्टिकल वे रादर देन, क्योंकि आई ऑल्सो अंडरस्टैंड सर ये अभी ऑनलाइन टीचिंग लर्निंग प्रोसेस में आई फुल्ली अंडरस्टैंड कि यू वांट टू हैव एनी टाइम एनीवेयर एनीवन लर्निंग. कि
Right.
एक बार रिकॉर्ड करके बच्चे को प्रोवाइड कर दो, और लास्ट सब्जेक्ट विच आई टॉट बिफोर गोइंग आउट ऑफ द टीचिंग फील्ड एज ए
Yeah.
प्रिंसिपल, आई वाज टीचिंग आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस। मेरे
Right.
52 स्लाइड्स है सर, 52 लेक्चर्स है 1 आवर्स के, 52 आवर्स के लेक्चर्स रिकॉर्डेड है। आई यूज टू सेंड दोज रिकॉर्डेड लेक्चर्स टू ऑल माई 82 पार्टिसिपेंट्स। 2 सेक्शन थे वहाँ पे, सेक्शन ए सेक्शन बी, हु हैव टेकन दिस एआई, इलेक्ट्रिकल का फाइनल ईयर का सब्जेक्ट है सर ये एआई, वेयर इन देयर इज आर्टिफिशियल न्यूरल नेटवर्क, फजी लॉजिक एंड जेनेटिक एल्गोरिथम, ऐसे 3 सेक्शन थे।
Right.
So while preparing for those lectures, I went into how Bloom's taxonomy can be utilized for effective online teaching.
Right.
And therein I came across this case study, simulation and research in teaching. And that pays.
It was very good.
उससे अपने को भी फायदा होता है, और दूसरा एक अच्छा फायदा ये है सर कि just for motivating, don't consider that I am self क्या बोलना चाहिए उसको, स्वतःच कौतुक करून राहिले, असं नाही आहे. It is a motivation. Sir, I have 2 courses, though are not very popular, but they are available on Udemy. One is 60 minutes guide to research. 60 minutes guides to research, Udemy पे है सर, वो बहुत पॉपुलर लेक्चर्स है, because most of the time I have allotted it free coupons. It is basically for those who are doing PhD, जो स्टार्ट करते हैं PhD उनके लिए है वो 60 minutes guides to research. And another one is on genetic algorithm using Python. Genetic algorithm using Python. ये दोनों भी लेक्चर जो मैंने प्रिपेयर किए हैं सर, तो आई हैव यूज दिस केस स्टडीज एंड सिमुलेशन एंड ऑल दोज मेथड्स, बिकॉज nowadays through online learning and teaching process, these have become essential.
Right.
You will all agree with me कि एक बच्चे को 60 में, आपके पास में 20 मार्क या 100 भी मार्क रहेंगे ना इंटरनल सर, आप यहाँ पे भी देख लो, आपका कॉलेज तो ऑटोनॉमस है, मतलब 100 के 100 मार्क्स टीचर के हाथ में है, तो भी 60 मिनट्स उसको क्लास में बिठा के रखना कितना मुश्किल है. यू कैन,
It is challenging, sir. It is really challenging.
यस यू यूज राइट टर्म, इज रियली चैलेंजिंग. और उसमें फिर क्या होता है, अननेसेसरीली सम ऑफ द टीचर्स यूज्ड टू कम टू मी फ्रस्ट्रेटेड, क्या सर ये बच्चे क्लास अटेंड नहीं करते, वो वहां से निकल के लाइब्रेरी में बैठते, वहां जाके कैंटीन में बैठते और वहां जाके लैपटॉप खोलते. बोले सर, तो आई कॉल्ड दोज स्टूडेंट्स एंड आई आस्क्ड देम व्हाट इज प्रॉब्लम. तो डोंट टेक इट अदरवाइज, वो बच्चों ने बहुत ओपनली मुझे बताया है कि सर कैसा है कि ये जो सर है या मैडम है वो क्लास में आते हैं, बोले सर, और उनके पीपीटी पे डायरेक्टली ये पीडीएफ फाइल चिपकाई हुई है, जो बुक की पीडीएफ है या पीपीटी है वो डायरेक्टली उन्होंने वहां चिपका दिया और उसको पढ़ के सुनाते, बोले सर हमको. एंड ऑन टॉप ऑफ इट पहले 20 मिनट या 30 मिनट में वो पढ़ के सुना दिया, और उसके बाद में दे आस्क अस टू नोट डाउन. Everything is available online. Why we should waste our time if you are noting it down? I try to justify them कि बाबा आज के डेट में आपको राइटिंग हैबिट चली गई है, आपको 3 घंटे जब पेपर लिखना पड़ता है तो हाउ डिफिकल्ट इट इज. सो दे रियलाइज कि हाँ सर ये तो बात बराबर बोल रहे हैं आप, हमको 3 घंटे का टाइम पूरता नहीं, क्योंकि लिखना नहीं होता, हाथ दुखते, हमको आदत नहीं रही. दैट इज द रीजन आई एम इंसिस्टिंग. आई टोल्ड आई एम ओनली इंसिस्टिंग कि भाई सम ऑफ द नोट्स मस्ट बी written down in the class itself by the student, so that उसको राइटिंग की हैबिट रहेगी. These are the technological disadvantages which have come up. ये नई चीज है सर जो आई है. बच्चा बाहर निकलता है एग्जाम हॉल से तो उसका पहला कंप्लेंट ये रहता है, सर टाइम ही नहीं पूरा. सब आता था बोले सर, बट आई कुड नॉट मैनेज टाइम. क्यों सर, लिखते नहीं आता सर, आधा घंटा लिखे तो हाथ दुखते, ऐसा ऐसा करके बताता सर वो.
Of late, I have started telling students that while you study at home, after reading, and when you understand that now you can memorize it, please write it at home. So that you can get a...
अपना भी हाल ऐसे हो गया सर.
Yes, sir. Yes.
अदर डे आई वाज एट विदर्भ महाविद्यालय, वो मेरे एक बच्चे का एडमिशन था एमए इंग्लिश को, तो आई अकम्पनीड हर. तो उन्होंने, सर ने मुझे पेपर निकाल के दिया, सर बोले इसके ऊपर आप एक डिक्लेरेशन लिख के दीजिए, यू आर ए गार्जियन, तो आप डिक्लेरेशन लिख के दीजिए. तो सर आई रिकॉर्ड कि बिकॉज ऑफ नॉन प्रैक्टिस ऑफ राइटिंग my handwriting changed. Otherwise, you know what kind of handwriting I had. और मैंने उस दिन जब सर मेरा डिक्लेरेशन लिख के दिया, I was myself surprised कि यार what went wrong? अला ये मेरा handwriting नहीं है वो यार. That is, and this is the यानी क्या drawback of technology. टेक्नोलॉजी के जैसे एडवांटेज मिले हैं अपने को, वैसे ही टेक्नोलॉजी के डिसएडवांटेज भी है कि अभी लेटली आई हैव रियलाइज कि सर बच्चे किताबें ढूंढ रहे हैं सर. दे आर नॉट इंटरेस्टेड इन रीडिंग ऑन पीडीएफ या वो जो किंडल आता है वहां पे नहीं पढ़ते अभी. वो बोलते सर फिजिकल किताब चाहिए मेरे को.
अच्छा.
लेटली आई हैव रियलाइज कि जो 5वीं 6ठी क्लास के जो 2-3 बच्चों से मेरा इंटरेक्शन हुआ ना, तो दे सेड के सर ये जो हमारी बैड हैबिट थी केजी से हमने सब ऑनलाइन किया, अभी हमारे को आंखों की तकलीफ होती है.
अच्छा.
स्पेक लग गए सर. 13-14 साल की एज में बच्चों को स्पेक्स आ गए. बिकॉज ऑफ दिस इज डेंजरस. दीज आर सम साइड इफेक्ट्स. बट as the things go, technology has its own disadvantages as well as advantages. We have to take on the positive side and then utilize it. So
thank you, sir. Thank you.
So
Thank
nice.
Yes.
So can we close? Ankit, coordinator hoga.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Thank you so much, Ankit sir, and so nice of you.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of the Malvi Mission Teacher Training Center, Sant Garge Baba, Amravati University, and Professor Ram Meghe Institute of Technology, I extend my sincere thanks to Professor Ali sir for being with us, enlighten us, and share his precious time in spite of his busy schedule, because today is a Sunday and we have stolen your personal time. But really, sir, this was an energetic and meaningful session for today's for us today. And really, sir, you have made our day. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And with the kind consent of Professor Ali sir, I would like to declare that this session will be over here.
I must thank you for all this. Or on top of it, you allowed me, and it is rather blessings for me to interact with my student. एक अच्छा हुआ कि participate. I am really proud to see so much of my student excelling in their own area and discussing or interacting with I will now take his first name. प्रशांत से बात करके बहुत अच्छा लगा. So nice of you, and thank you the Malvi Mission as well as Center, and my sincere thanks to Dr. Atik sir for allowing me to share my experiences with this august audience, and particularly to my alma mater itself, Professor Ram Meghe Institute of Technology and Research, Badnera. Thank you very much. We'll leave it.
Yes, sir. We will stop.
Should I leave the meeting?
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Okay, participants, we will stop here and meet tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.